It's the music business. There's so many things that you can do. I'm telling you, the money, it's like free money on it. Okay, I'm not saying it's free money, but there's
It's
so
not free
much.
money.
It's not okay, it's not free money, but it's
It is money.
and now record label owners are actually making more than the artists.
Yeah.
You know, and people like us are pushing from the back. I've done the Banker by Kwame Eugene. I did it
Okay.
in East African region. I've done Touch It. I did Tiwa Savage, Somebody's Son, Olamide's album. Ruga, I'm the one who blew up. Ruga's first concert in his life has been Uganda. Then he went to Rwanda because we're all one. Do you understand? So it's a great time for us as Africans as well to be alive. And also the new media has helped us get to know so many people in the easiest way. That's why I feel like Ghana is still behind when you said that they only use blogs.
Yes.
I mean, TikTok is there. You never know which video is gonna come up on your feed. Instagram Reels, you never know. When you go to Discover, the Reels are like crazy and people are just vibing to different songs. Those days you wouldn't even, a DJ used to be the one to force a song on us. But now the DJs are actually being influenced by TikTok, you know, at Instagram Reels. So things have changed and you need to move with the new era, because if you stay stuck, if you stuck behind, people are gonna post you and you're like, hey, I met this kid before in studio, or I bumped into this kid before. So with the new era of music, there's also a new era of like media that you have to take advantage of. Pay for, okay, sponsor your page on Facebook, sponsor your page on Instagram, work with different stylists. Image is very important. One thing about the Nigerian industry, they actually groom an artist for like 1 year.
Yeah.
You just see an artist come up and you're like, how come this kid is too good? But they've groomed him from how he should cut his hair, how he should dress up, everything to perfection. Do you understand? And it's all time. And then it will reflect on your social media. I follow Thames because of her style. I'm not like a really big fan. People will like you for different things. They would like your voice. I would love your style. But at the end of the day, you need to keep scooping different fans on social media, because that's the only place you can easily connect with an artist as a fan.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the insight.
Can I, before you continue, can I add a little to
Yes,
what you already said? I think it's brilliant what you said. I think I have the same, I share the same sentiments. And because we come from like different scopes in the industry, you know, you come from a marketing aspect, I come from a more artistic aspect. And most of the time I feel like style is really important because people don't push it. You see, every time everyone promotes work the same way. For example, if I should drop a dance record, it's most likely going to be the same way that someone would drop a heartbreak record. Probably someone dancing to it, and it's the same thing on TikTok and on Instagram. And I feel like it gets to a point where there's an oversaturation, and everyone, you know, you're scrolling and okay, this song A, and this a woman shaking her ass to the song, and then the song B, and song B is really slow. It's like some Adele type song, and it's still shaking her ass. And then the song C is like I'm a piano, and it's the same. It's like an influx of the same type of content, and there's no identity. You know, it's like there's no art, and I think sometimes it's much easier to have a hit record than leave a legacy, because you have a, and that's what people like us, we don't really pursue, especially out here in Ghana, because like the 10 minutes fame is usually more important than the having the longevity, even if your song is not still buzzing. And I think it's important that we all have style. Charles Bukowski once said something. He said, style is the solution to everything. You can do something dull, and style will be the only difference. You can have some, but if you do something dangerous, style will transform it into art. You know, even bodybuilding, loving, PR.
I mean, look at Blackburn.
Exactly, beautiful. And someone, I'm not even against being inspired, but someone is not funny, or there are people that are funny. I'll say I'm a funny person, but I'm not funny in front of the camera. There's something Black Bones excels at. So if you're behind and you're like, oh, I'm inspired by him, but because he's funny, so I want to be funny. Papi Kojo is funny, so you know, let me also fool, you know. But it's not your style. You end up looking really comedian, Waris sort of, you know. Um, they said no censorship, so let me let me. But yeah, look inside. I think the first panel spoke about it, identity. Look into something that you really like and use it. You don't have to. Art isn't limited to your lyrics and your melodies, and it's everything. The visuals that you produce, the promo that you do, flip stuff. Just I feel like there has to be art in everything, and I love like everything you guys do, and it's beautiful. And me, my only like my 2 cents to my fellow artists would be to all the things that Sheila just said, do it in your own way. If you're going to, for example, send a marketing budget to Sheila, oh, Sheila, this is how I want to present myself. I don't want to look like Black Bones. I don't want to look like the second coming of Black Bones. I want to be me, I don't want to come up funny. I know it's selling, but being funny wasn't selling before Black Bones made it a thing. Probably was, but it wasn't that popular. Now everybody wants to be funny. They are not. At the end, it makes you look really clownish. And yeah, basically, I think you have to have style in everything you do.
But can I just add, I think also this is partly to do with exposure, which then builds confidence. And this is where the whole thing around collaboration and partnerships come in. Very often there's a lot of duplication. And by that, what I mean, a lot of copying of styles, because again, the view is always just looking at how can I make money in the local arena. But actually there's a much bigger environment there, a bigger landscape there. The whole thing about collaboration is about developing ideas, being inspired, carving out your own identity, your own style. And these things, this comes from confidence, and confidence comes from knowledge, and knowledge equals power. And knowledge equals power in terms of your own goals, as well as wider goals as well. Am I making myself clear? Is that? So, I really do think that, the whole theme of this, which is about, collaboration, don't underestimate collaboration. We have to stop competing with each other and start thinking about an agenda that we can all contribute to, that is benefiting all of us. And what tends to happen now is that there's a very small view about what success is. And success is a much wider thing, even in terms of making music, making songs, etc., writing songs, having a successful hit, etc., is only part of what the industry does. There is a whole, there's a whole industry behind performers. There are technicians, there are songwriters, there's producers, PR, and within that, there's all kinds of different roles and responsibilities, even in terms of making music. It's not always about the hit. There are jingles to write. There are brands to, promote yourself with, whether it be on TV. There's a responsibility even of the private sector. The private sector really doesn't support the music industry here. But there's such a thing as CSR, corporate social responsibility. And that's where they, support artists to improve their brand. When you see, for example, on TV, let's say, for example, you see Barclays Bank. Barclays is everywhere. Barclays aren't just doing that out of charity. Barclays are doing that to make sure that their brand is out there, stands out there, and that also they are at the front of the queue when it comes to supporting new initiatives. So that's why, the whole role of private sector is so important. I have a saying. You need to make music your business, not just an opportunity for fame, 15 minutes of fame. You have to make it your business. Make your business your business. And by that, what I mean is it's up to you to be educating yourself. Information is everywhere. Whether, I'm an old woman. I see you all on your phones and you're on Facebook and you're on Instagram, etc. But often what you're missing out on is all the information out there, all the opportunities out there to really build partnerships, collaborate, work with other artists, work in other countries, work towards joint projects, things that aren't always going to give you that 15 minutes of fame, but actually going to give you a sustainable income. Sometimes instead of thinking about that hit, as I said, there's other things that you can be producing within the music industry. Yeah, it may not get you on TV, but it will generate a hell of a lot more income for you. So you need to start thinking more widely, more broadly about what success is and how you can contribute to the development of your own industry here in Ghana, and not always be looking for things outside to come and reward you. Create it here. It's here. You're all here with each other. You should be forging those opportunities with each other instead of competing with each other over what is actually a very small space. Ghana is a very small space, you know. Why aren't you collaborating with your neighbors? Why aren't you doing more work in Nigeria, for example? Why aren't you doing more work in South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire? Don't let language be an obstacle. Why is language an obstacle? Your music is popular. A lot of Afrobeat out there. Nobody understands what anyone is saying. No one understands. Nobody speaks Pidgin or Creole or Twi, or nobody speaks that. But what people respond to is the rhythm, the style, the exposure to something different. It's no mistake why companies are heading to Africa now. It's no mistake. Basically, the music landscape has been saturated. And by that, what I mean is, you know, it's filled. UK, Europe, US, you're all aspiring to be the next artist who's as big as the artist in the US, etc. And yet, Europe, UK, and US, where are they heading? Where are they coming? Are they not coming here? And they're coming here for very specific reasons, because it's the fans, it's the music followers that have blown up Afrobeat. Nobody's done, you know, Afrobeat hasn't blown up because someone's doing it a favor. It's the fans who have made that work. And they've made that work because they have an appreciation that the world is global now, and that there are many stages, many levels on which we can interact and in which we can build wealth, in which we can build a sustainable industry. So you need to start thinking beyond the local. All these phones and platforms you're using, there are podcasts, there are videos, there's information. Equip yourself with the information. I think that's a really important part of the conversation.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you. Michael, so another topic that most of it's not working. So is it? Hello. Yeah, hello. Yeah. So another topic that most of my musician friends have a problem understanding is distribution. And these days, all they see is distribution contracts, not even record label contracts, small distribution contracts. And I know a lot of them don't understand anything in terms of what is an advance, what is the marketing promo money, what is it, what recoup, what they don't understand most of these things. So as a distributor, can you please touch on this and how it works? And what maybe they should look out for if they get like a really simplified contract? What should they look out for?
Okay, so there's a label distribution, and then there's aggregator service. So DistroKid is an aggregator, Dito, TuneCore. So mostly independent artists sign up for these aggregation services. But if you need more advanced marketing, like the support, people sign up for the labels like Empire and then other distributions. But they offer the upfront payments in terms of marketing, doing proper PRs and stuff, because most of these aggregators don't offer no advance payment. So this is why most of the artists are losing their masters. They don't really understand the contract. Yeah, this is why they're failing.
So they're failing, of course. Do you work with any of the big distribution companies? Or
Yes, Warner. Yeah,
Warner Music.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that an African division now, or?
Okay, so this is a sub-level here, but we are still based in the Netherlands. Yeah,
Oh, so based in Netherlands.
of course.
Oh,
So I
okay.
just represent them here.
In Ghana.
Yes.
I never knew Warner was signing.
Yeah, we're still working on setting up the office.
Have you signed anyone yet? Have
Yeah,
you
I'm
signed?
working with few artists here. Of course. Okay, so I'm doing marketing for Kelvin Boy, the digital marketing. That's for Down Flat. So
Okay.
and distributions, I'm working with IEC and then few artists as well.
Oh, okay. So you offer multiple services, not just
Not just distribution.
distribution.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay. Well, I never really ever dreamt that we have Warner Music in Ghana ever. So
And they have a recording studio in Ghana as well. So
A
one,
recording studio.
of course, I think Ebru.
Wow.
That is well, Warner UK. So they have a recording studio in Ebru. One guy is on the producer.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. Didn't know that. That's actually good, is it?
Of
Or
course, yeah, it's a good deal. But now here's the case. It depends on the deal you have with them. Now here's the case. You want to just sign up for the distribution. You want to own your masters. You just want the licensing deal.
Yeah.
Where you don't take the upfront payments. You just need their support in terms of playlisting and banners. That is where it is a good deal for the artist. But once, okay, oh, I need an upfront to shoot a video, support in terms of maybe traditional marketing. I want to travel to Nigeria, do it proper, whatever, marketing and stuff. This is where people lose their content because they're going to offer you maybe 5 years deal where you're going to lose like 40% of your sales, like your revenues for a
Okay,
period of
and
maybe, I
60.
don't know, 10 years. That is where Black Luxury, they are the issues, of course.
Okay.
I think I like what you mentioned about playlisting. I think it's very, very
Yeah.
important.
And then I couldn't finish up. We have banner placements, push notifications. These are all ways to promote your music on the platform. So once someone open the app, they find the song at least on the front page, more visibility, and then you grow your fan base from there as well. This is not just about social media, but on the platform, you can also grow your fan base and then get revenues. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add on, I think it's very, very important for an artist or a record label to have someone playlist their music because there are so many people singing now. You know, there are a million people around the world, but then there are different playlists that we go to every day when I open like Apple Music. I'll go to New Music or I'll go to Afro Soul or Africa Now. So what happens is that you need to also know people who create this playlist or who also pitch. When you're going to have a song that is out, you need to know the kind of genre of music the song is, of course, and share it with your playlister. And then if the song is good enough, they'll put it in the playlist. So if I'm probably maybe in the shower and I just want to listen to new music, I'll play a random, you know, I'll play a playlist and it will just keep putting a different song. So it's very important for you guys to know that, guys.
Yeah,
Because
so the main thing is I distributed quite a bit for Pop Africa. So once we scheduled for the release, Spotify reached out. They wanted to add him for playlist cover, the image and stuff. And then I realized Apple Music gave him more than 15 playlists. The song really did well on digital space, even without social media. Yeah. Later he started doing the advertisements and social, but he really did well because of the playlisting as well. Of course.
So, and that's all the distribution company does all this. for you?
Yeah, we does everything. Yeah.
Okay. And then wait, so does that a PR also do playlisting?
yeah, I do playlisting. Some PRs do playlisting.
Okay.
Yeah, so I pitch to some of the playlisters,
Okay.
and also I work in partnership with someone at Apple as well.
Yeah,
So
but-
we also had an issue with that with our Ugandan artists that they weren't being playlisted and their music. If there was like a playlist, there would be like music that is backward. The person who was
Okay.
playlisting for East Africa wasn't doing a great job. So they reached out to me. So sometimes I actually pitch music for East African artists, but then still I could still pitch music for, you know, a different artist as long as the song is good.
Okay.
Though sometimes
Yeah.
people take money for that, but I don't. The song has to be really, really great. For playlisting, I keep, you know, I keep the standards. It's not really about the
I wanted
money.
to add something to whatever she said. So without labels, independent artists can still get playlists. So you have the South African contacts where if you're able to give them a proper marketing plan, the PR plans, they can offer you playlists. So you can pitch yourself as an independent artist,
Okay.
of course. Yeah. I myself, even without labels, I normally use the artist account, maybe the official emails to pitch to the editors.
Okay.
Even from the Spotify dashboard, you can pitch to Spotify editorial playlist. You get playlists
You
as
get
well.
playlists,
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not sure if people have questions about.
Seven,
this
can I
before we
add
move on.
something
Yeah.
before you guys?
Okay, go ahead.
Also, on the first panel, you spoke about the Black Sharif
Yeah.
matter. I think it's come up again. And I just wanted to clarify that it's actually, contrary to popular knowledge, it's a really good deal, actually. It's a very temporary deal. And I think people think it's a very long-term deal, but I think two of the images leaked, and then of the contract, yes.
yeah.
And then there's the third one, which actually clarified more stuff, leaked later, but people weren't privy to it. And I have a partner who's
Because bad news most fast.
exactly. And I think this is where PR also comes in, because now he knows what he got. And I have a partner that has spoken to his lawyer actually specifically. And I think because of non-disclosure agreements and stuff, they cannot come out and be like, oh, now that's not how it is, you know, that blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
but also sometimes PR helps like with bad crisis and stuff
Exactly.
like that to cover up. So
Exactly. So
they wouldn't necessarily give the details, but they have to form a way.
facts.
Yeah.
And I believe that as well. I think that was also what I was coming to. And even if not, personally, I think I'm an artist that doesn't really play by the books. But for example, if I was Black Sherif and this whole matter was infuriating me, I'll probably tell people, bro, this is how the deal is. Get this information through the streamline. Do not let it lead back to me. Let people know that, nah, I did not sign this deal. And I think people have, I cannot, because his team is obviously like top class, but how they've handled it and how people think he's making $86 a month. But I think they've literally broke it down. I think the advance was 30,000 for the first deal. And it's a 15-year contract. It's actually a full 15-year contract. And what that means is if he can recoup 30,000 back tomorrow, he's out of the deal, actually, essentially. Yes. And if he has 15 years, but if he cannot recoup until 15 years, the contract is nullified. And his lawyer actually, this is kind of like, you know, I don't really care, honestly.
No, you can't go there if no.
Oh, no,
if it's
no,
not public
it's not
information.
too private, actually. And I don't think you'll kill me for that. But this is how grave the matter is. Like, you know, Storm, you all know Stormzy, obviously. And it's actually a popular contract in the space, in the lawyer space. And he's actually been congratulated because it's seen as quote unquote an impossible deal. To have such a deal that short and uplifting, it's really difficult to manage such a deal. So it's really bad that I don't know, is it his investor or whoever is pushing the ideal that $86 a month. I mean, 30,000 divided by 15 years, fine. He's not even added the 60% royalties he gets, and that will be more than $86. So it's just ridiculous. And you know, it's all part of PR, letting stuff like this. So next time, if I see Black Sherif, I feel like, oh, quote unquote, he's an idiot.
I'd actually love to meet him.
Yeah, that's a narrative people are pushing. He's an idiot. So if I'm going to book him for a show, oh, he's an idiot. So, you know, let's take him for like 2,000 Ghana cents. We can push it, you know, and everybody that comes. But it's really imperative that your PR isn't limited to your music and your tours, and it's limited to you as a person. The way someone views you. Look at Jay-Z. He probably isn't even half as smart as you think he is. But it's PR. The way he answers questions, absurdly. Probably some things I like to say, beautiful nonsense. Say stuff that you don't understand. Like, hey, we were being, and you know, for people that don't understand what being, like, he's really brilliant, but like it's a facade, and then you have to create it because when someone is coming towards you, he's like, nah, I need to approach this person correctly because from what I've heard, he's a hustler, he's a smart person, and it's all part of PR. You're a funny person, so if I have an SNL show, I'll probably pick Black Bones. It's all part of PR. The way you want to present yourself, apart from your music, apart from everything else you're doing. Yes, I believe as well.
I mean, I just want to add to that yes, there is the PR, the side of it, but you gave the example of Jay-Z. Regardless of what anyone thinks about Jay-Z, what makes Jay-Z incredibly successful is he's a businessman. He's a businessman in the music industry, you know, and he understands business. One of the things, I mean, I know that, you know, I'm more of a behind the scenes person, someone who's pushing for policy, etc. But again, these are the kinds of issues and agendas and education, business education, that actually you owe it to yourselves as well to also equip yourselves. So for example, things like the role of Ghana Music Alliance is a membership organization. And it's a membership organization that is actually advocating, that is actually representing the issues that matter to musicians here. It's really important that you understand the role of such organizations and that you become members and support that kind of work, because Ghana Music Alliance are the ones who are like, struggling with and challenging ministries, trying to identify funds, trying to further, the landscape, the environment in which musicians operate. And so, yes, there's the front of things, the producing music, the style, etc. But there's also the politics of music, and the business of music. And that's where we are now, where we need to be equipping ourselves and understanding what are the politics that are happening in the music industry that's affecting even your opportunity to create an income, to create wealth. What is the business? What is it that I need to know? Everything from music education, putting pressure on the private sector, on your banks. You should be getting non-interest or low interest loans in which you can start up music business. For example. This is the kind of environment we're talking about. So yes, there's the front of things, the producing, the being on, streaming, being on TV and all of that. But there's also the behind the scenes, the things that actually support an industry. And as I said, organizations, membership organizations, you should all be members of an organization like Ghana Music Alliance. You should all be members, and you should be members who are willing to pay for the membership. Now, we know that there's different ability to pay, but that's something that Ghana Music Alliance can be negotiating or working out with you, or having different streams in which people can contribute to the work they do. But membership, organizing, politically and business-wise, is really essential to the growth of the industry here in Ghana and beyond.
I want to add on just one last thing. I don't see any women in here. How many?
There are
I want to
some women.
see women put their hands up.
There's a few
There's
women
a
here.
few. Okay, now there's one thing that most people don't know about the music business. The music business has been taken over by women. Most of these record label owners, all the ladies all these big artists that you sing out there are now being managed by women. So if you're an artist right here and you're male, you need to get women onto your team. I'm not just saying this because yeah,
No
without
feelings.
feelings,
No,
of
no,
course.
Business, only
It's business. I'm talking business. And if you actually follow people, and also if you're very interested in the music business, learn to follow these different people on Instagram. If I follow her and she tags someone in the music business, go on and follow them as well, because these guys always distribute different music education that you need, knowledge that you need to equip yourselves at. The biggest artists now are managed by women, record labels, Boomplay. I think the head of music, Boomplay, is a lady.
Yeah.
So if you're a woman out there, don't be afraid. Don't think that this is a men's game. No, things have changed now. It's women who get things done. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I've actually been going back and forth with Michelle for the past couple of months, because the thing is, where are the women in music in Ghana? I don't know. But what I know is we do reach out to them. We do talk to them. We try to get them to come to these things to support the stuff that we're doing. And unfortunately, most of them are not really interested. They'll probably be doing something else instead of coming together.
Why do you think that is? And is that true that most of them are not interested? Or is it that perhaps, is it that the conversations or the dialogue that you're having is not engaging with women?
Well, I mean, that could possibly be a reason. But I think when it comes to women in music, as long as we all talking music and nothing beyond the music, they should definitely be able to contribute to it, And in the past couple of years, like we have Liza, head of Boomplay, is a woman. The head of Spotify West Africa Anglophone is a woman. Benewa is a woman. There's a few of them, women who've taken these positions. Most of them had nothing to do with music. Like they've never sang in their life, and they all of a sudden are these positions. And I know a lot of other women who've actually been doing music for a while, and you don't really see them engaged in these things. I mean, when Benewa finished college, we talked for weeks. I want to get into music business. I want to get into this. I don't know what I want to do, but I want to help artists. That's how she put it. I want to help artists. And it's been, let's say, 3-4 years that she's at Spotify now. You know, so it is possible. And we really want women to participate, talk to us, see how best we can plug in. Because really, I would love to work with women than my guys. I'm sorry. No, I
Well,
would love to
again,
because,
companies like, sorry. not to
yeah,
cut.
because I mean, to me, they get things done. They get things done. You know, they get things done. But
It's
yeah,
true.
Sophie,
Don't be
it's true.
hating.
Don't please don't hate. I mean, whatever you can do, they can do better, if anything. Trust me.
But
Trust me.
again, organize. So, for example, companies like Spotify, one of the things that Spotify has done has created this equal hub. Remember, we were
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about that. And that's a platform in which they are directly appealing to women, to engage with women. I believe, and Amare, and is it Jackie? Am I
Jackie, yeah,
pronouncing her
Jackie
name
was, yeah.
properly? Jackie. Jackie was the first African woman
Yeah.
to be taken up by
Taken, yeah.
Spotify and
Yeah.
Spotify's equal hub.
Yeah.
How many of you even know that Spotify have an equal hub? And what's the purpose does it do? So there are opportunities to engage with women, but sometimes it's the agenda, but also it's a responsibility of women as well. You need to also want to organize. You need to want to join forces
Yeah.
with these, absolutely, because again, you have certain issues that are very specific to men in this industry. And unless you're going to represent those issues yourselves, no one's going to come and represent those issues for you. So it's really important that, you take your place at the table. You represent the issues that matter to you. You represent the challenges that you are facing. And then you come up with the solutions and the strategies with which to deal with those and manage those. And again, I'm a real advocate of becoming members because, we can't do it all as individuals. You need to organize around these things. And as I said, just as one example, it's not the only example, but as one example, an organization similar to Ghana Music Alliance. So you've got Trigmatic, you've got Seven, you've got Kofi, you've got all of these guys who are like forward-thinking guys. You've got the old guard where we know what the agenda often is, but we also know that that agenda still exists for women even now. And we know there's a lot of sexploitation. I'm not going to hide behind that. We know that often the currency with which you keep pitching up every time there's something to do with sex and women. But the whole point is that often is the agenda with which women are constantly having to deal with. And we need to kind of start thinking beyond that. We need to start joining forces and collaborating. Let's work towards something that is going to be more solid for everyone. Instead of sidelining people based on identities, we need to start coming together and thinking more strategically and thinking in a more business-like fashion and not relying on those old stereotypes in terms of, what we need to do to get on.
Thank you very much. Kofi? Okay.
Thanks so much for your submission, our panelists. This is more or less an addition to what's already been said. I can speak for myself. I personally reached out to 35 women to attend this event. Not a single one has showed. Not a single one of them. Now, I have theories. I may be wrong or right, but I think because we have a very male-dominated ecosystem, over time, their voices and their courage, have been suppressed and maybe totally annihilated. It's going to take a very intentional, nearly forceful approach to fix that problem. It's crazy. 35.
But that's why I was saying it's about how you engage and the
Right.
dialogue and the
Yes.
discourse that you.
But it's crazy because a majority of this number, the women that made up the 35, not all 35, but a majority of them are people that I've known for quite some time. I've interacted with them. We've discussed these challenges. And there's a need, you see, it's crazy because as African people, even traditionally, the role of music was mostly bestowed, no, women actually. The moment we were colonized and music became commodified, men took over. And the proof is all around us because for quite some time now, we've done a pretty shitty job at it. So no, I'm making an urge to every forward-thinking person in this room, man or woman or other. I beg you, if you know any women who's supposed to be here today, it is your responsibility to make sure that they believe that change is possible. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. On that note, we'll wrap up for this session and oh, there's a question. Okay, yes, Mr. Kaptan.
My question is for the two ladies, Michelle and Sheila. Michelle, you were saying of collaboration, an artist should collaborate with other things, do jingles and everything. Now, when it comes to these upcoming artists, companies or radio stations or anything would not like to collaborate with them. They don't have a name. Even if the artist is almost coming up, still they will not. When it comes to Sheila, you are seeing a PR. Well noted, every artist should have a PR, but these upcoming artists can't afford the PR. The management that they have are trying their best for them, and they cannot afford a PR. What do they do? What do they do, Michelle?
And again, I mean, I think one of the strategies, and it's not because, trust me, Ghana Music Alliance haven't paid me to come and speak for them. I wish.
Thank you, thank you.
But, again, this is where I think organizing is really important. This is where I think membership organizations, because it's about education. It's about music education. It's about business education. It's like the landscape is not going to change on its own. The landscape is going to change from within. There are new talents, new ideas. You have the political activists and advocates. I use political with small p. I'm not talking NDC, MPP. I'm talking just in terms of like the landscape in which these issues exist. Organizing is really important. Challenging the status quo cannot be done. It's very difficult to do anything on your own. You need numbers. You need to understand, what are some of the challenges which are obstacles, for example, to being able to have good PR systems, good managers. Often, so you need things like workshops, education, organizations that can guide you, signpost you, but you have to be supportive of the creation of that environment. If you continue to think that you're just working on your own and trying to manage these big issues, then it's very difficult to make progress. It really is, It's, times are different now. Just being this solo artist, the biggest artists in the world that you admire all have a machinery behind them. They all have a machinery behind them. No one is doing it on their own. And so that's what I would advocate. And so when I said things like, make it your business to know your business, this is part of making it your business.
That came into them, okay? But, these artists who are here in Ghana, some of them are great, some of them are good, but no one is getting close to them out of fear that, I'm saying it plainly. It's out of fear that if I invest in you, will you backstab me? Will you stay with me? You see, This is where the fear is. I am managing an artist. I don't want to mention his name, okay? But, where he has reached, where I am going, and I'm trying, okay, to help, to promote, to do things. Oh, yes, we know him, but you will see what we'll do. What the hell? We are all trying to work on one thing. If I come to Sheila and I say, Sheila, I need you to promote him, PR, you understand me? Sheila is going to tell me, oh, okay, you know what? Give me $3,000. I'll get things sorted out for you. And this song will blow. Damn, I don't have that 3,000. I don't have it. Now, what can I do? I can't go to Kofi and say, Kofi, help us, make we blow the song somewhere here, and all those things. It's not an easy, music industry in Ghana has become a mafia game. If you are not a tycoon, don't venture.
As actually everywhere. If you're not, if you
No,
come
no,
for
no,
money
no,
into
no,
it.
no. Especially in Ghana, and there are some big artists here. If you try and step on their toe, they'll smash you down. If you try and overpower them, they'll smash you down. But this is not what's supposed to be. As you said, a collaboration, a union, Ghana Music Alliance, you're among, at least, oh yeah, you're doing something. Let's push you like this. We're not pushing you with money. Come, there's a show here. They will pay you. They will do this thing. But you hardly get people like this.
And I think it's partly a mindset. And when I say mindset, it's a mindset that has been damaging to business in general in Ghana. So let me say, for example, you see it in business. As I said, we work with local economic development. There's a scenario, there's a situation in Ghana where you even have in the workspace, companies who actually don't even want to invest in training, skills development of their own employees. Why? Because they say, oh, if I train them, they're just going to jump ship and leave me. But people who want to leave you is a success story. You should never expect people to work for you and be with you forever.
About slavery.
No one is beholden to you. And so when someone has developed the confidence, the skills, etc., to say, okay, I want to move on, I want to set up on my own, or I want to take promotion or try my hand at a different point in the sector. This is a celebratory story, but the mindset here is like, no, I've invested money in you and now I'm losing because now you're going to someone else, So there are cultural challenges in terms of mindset. There's short-termism as well, where it's just like, okay, I'm working hard. I want to see the rewards now. Some of the previous speakers, Afrocello, etc., you know how hard it is to even, get something off the ground, let alone be successful at it. But if you want rewards immediately, then there's always going to be this cycle. It's like when you invest in someone, because you want to succeed, and their success should be your success. Them wanting to move on should be a successful story for you. But as I said, there are cultural challenges here in terms of how people think about success. And that's one of the things, I think, one of the major things that needs to change. And it goes from the top straight to the bottom. That's my response to that.
So my response to the question towards PR, I've pushed songs before that I didn't get paid for, You just, like I said to you, you need to know people who know people. You need to make friends with people who matter in the industry. You could be having most of your friends who are not in the industry, maybe. You should make the radio presenters your friends, the TV presenters. But I mean, if a song is good, you can't run away from good music. You still catch back with the song. So you have to, right now, if you're having that kind of issue, just make sure, that your artist is doing amazing music, great sound. How old is your artist? Roughly. No, okay, cool. But still, if you're kind of person who wants to sign new artists, if you need to understand there's also a certain age group right now. I don't know if that's gonna be mean. No, you need to get a new artist. Not that you can still work with that artist, but if you see, you don't have to have one artist, you can still work with that artist. But I'm saying, please listen to me. we see it in Uganda as well. When people reach that age, they just want to get married. The other day, there was a conversation in Kenya. Eric Omondi was saying, what happened to Sauti Sol? These guys were doing great music. When they got married, they don't want to do music. He had actually you see what Shatta Wale was saying about why are people listening to Nigerian music? That's what he was doing. He said, what's happening to our Kenyan artists? When they start getting married, having babies, they don't want to do music. You can't stop someone who, yeah.
He needs more of the PR work. Okay. Now he has wonderful songs. He's good. Okay, but because of PR and because of collaboration with other institutes, with other companies or anything, people are not yet ready to say, okay, I'll push him a bit. I'm not investing in him, but I'll help him to stand. Now, if, for example, I'm just giving an example. If I come to you, Michelle, and say, Shatta wants to collaborate with any of the business companies that you have or anything, what would you say? You say, okay.
Yeah, what's the proposal? Let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk. But if I come and tell you an upcoming artist called Badman is coming up, okay, that's his stage name. Or let me put it, a militant, one of the Shatta militants, Adisel, wants to come and collaborate, with your company. What are you going to give him? Because he is, now trying to appear in the scene. He's nowhere in the scene.
But honestly, like, let me cut you short. There's so many different avenues that you can promote your artist. Like on Facebook, you could just sponsor $100 Ghana region, first on Instagram, because sometimes people also go with hype. My makeup artist today, she was like, it looks like everyone goes with hype because I got her from, a girl who is very big on Snapchat. I think she's called Delcy from Ghana. And now so many people in Uganda follow her. Do you get? So you could use different avenues, but still, now that you've met me, I could know the artist later and I would listen to the song. Not all the songs that I've promoted, so many songs that I didn't even get, even the artist doesn't know. But because the song is good, you just vibe to it. And then, you see what you can do. Yeah. And also I've realized that with artists here, they don't work with other younger artists. Like King Promise is out there. He should be working, They're doing more collabos with other bigger artists out of Ghana. Yeah, but you can't forget home. You have to, let me tell you one thing with even the East African market, Diamond will do songs out there, but he will still do songs in his region to keep relevant, because these artists are taking most of their time now in the US, in the UK, in Europe, because they want now to break out, which I think is also going to affect the African music at a certain stage. Because now that white people want to be like Africans, Africans want to be like white people, forgetting that and I love what she said, like Afrobeats is what made, the fans made Afrobeats big. The Africans in those regions are the ones that made the music big. The artists are not the ones that did. Now the artists feel like they need to do a remix with an American rapper. You're killing the song. That's not what made, the song has no identity. Do you understand? So at the end of the day, just have your artists do good music. You never know. And that's why I thank Trig for this, because we're meeting different people.
And this also,
I wanted
it goes back to just, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, it's, I do that, it's what I do,
That's what she does.
That's what I do. This is what I meant about the competitive environment. So let's say, for example, UK, etc., Stormzy, whatever. So, Stormzy didn't discover himself. This is about working with artists. Stormzy is also one of the artists who's really supportive of, for example, of up and coming talent. Yeah. And this is all about mindset. Again, everyone is competing for the spoils, and the spoils are small in the space. If you broaden your way of thinking, big artists should be supporting up and coming artists. Talent scouts, for example. Do we have talent scouts in Ghana, for example? Do we have folks who go around and actually are looking for the next big hit, the next wonder, because it takes in, but no, we don't. But in the more developed markets, and when I say developed, I'm talking about like UK, US, etc., there is a whole industry just around talent scouting, looking for the next person. And that is often built on collaborative work. That is where you get a big artist. You know, like when you have a show and then you have the lesser known artist who opens up the stage for you. You know, that whole scene is not by accident. That's how you get the Daves and the Stormses, etc. discovered. That's what I meant about developing the music landscape. Those are the things that I mean. Having venues, for example, investing in venues where musicians can perform so that they become places where, you know, you get your next producer or wherever they go, they patronize those places. They visit those places, they sit, they look, they think about, they see someone who's slowly building their career. And also, no one should expect success overnight. Why? What makes you entitled to be a success overnight when most successful musicians have been knocking at that door and working incredibly hard, paid and unpaid, credited and not credited? It's about, you know, paying your dues. You have to pay your dues as well. But I think that, you know, in Ghana, as I said, the landscape is small and everybody is trying to be a shark in the same small pond, you know. You have to change how you think the industry can work, and you have to work with organizations that can help to educate you, support you, give you the skills, the tools, the knowledge, so that you can also invest in your own success.
Yeah.
One more. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
We
about
have
King
to-
Promise. I think King Promise is trying to support the industry. He's already working with Kamido. The song is not out, but probably. And then working with another guy called Aradeche. You say?
Camido is already
don't
big.
regard Camido as an
Upcoming artist.
No,
Okay.
technically no.
Okay. So there's another guy called Aradeche.
Okay. Okay.
King Promise gave verse to the guy. and
Because
then
honestly, look at what Davido is doing, you know?
Yeah,
He's doing collabos with all the artists, the young artists. Because honestly, it's also, that's when people talk about, you know, nationalism and stuff, it also has to start with the artists,
I
because
think King Promise is trying to build his catalog in a different way. Or if he wants to feature the artist, maybe who is doing a similar style.
okay.
You understand? So it depends on the style. And then about us promoting a song without a budget. I think you can build a strong community. Someone like Kofi Kinata started from scratch.
Yeah.
But he started with the Takwari people.
Yeah.
You understand? You don't have a budget, but you can still create a group where they can share your content on
Yeah.
social medias. And then you can still reach out to a lot of fans, of course.
7, please. We have 2 people who have been waiting for quite some time now to answer a question, and we are running out of time.
To ask a question or
Yeah, the
answer?
panelists, please.
Oh,
Two
okay.
people, and then I have one submission, and then we wrap it up real quick
Okay,
because
thank
time is way past.
Okay. Got a question?
Okay. My name is Abdel Moise. And this man is, you know Eva Maria, right? Eva Maria studied theater arts, studied music. I did the same. And me, when you say there's no space for underground artists, then I start. I'm sure Press do. There was a platform, myself and you, we met.
Yeah.
Yeah. The moment I step into this platform, Trigmatic shared this with me. Immediately I subscribe. And I say, how do we pay? How do we pay? And I've been pushing my female artists. One thing I try very hard over the years, I try to get out of the female artists is that don't think that the male artist is better than you, because I have a female daughter, and I don't want her to feel like the next guy next to her is better than her. And I don't want you to play that sex thing, because the way I play with Eva Maria and we go to places together and do everything together, people have that mindset. You see that kind of comment? They try to like, he's fucking here. He's doing this,
no.
he's doing that. No, it's real. And I don't want us to, you see, because it's the way our mindset and our body and our whatever is formatted. So the female feel relaxed after all, if I go there, this, that. When I don't see my female artists show up at a particular time, I know what is wrong. It's either it's a red time, or it's the emotional time, or it's this time. So I respect them for that, and I give them that value for that. But I don't allow them, they themselves, to feel pity for themselves and to feel that that guy need to give them a quarter. Do you get it?
Yeah, to feel less.
To feel less, or you need somebody to help you or something. So whenever you bring that issue, it's in me. Even Maria have inculcated in me to that extent that when you say something lesser of a female artist, whether you're a female or whatever, I automatically it comes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can't keep calm about it. The second thing I also try to do is that I try to also advocate for the men, because I've got to places that I know very well that I deserve it, but they want to give it to the fine girl. Why? Why?
We'll have a whole different topic on this one.
Yes. So my question is to you.
Yes.
Charlie,
Hey.
we don't know about you.
Uh-huh.
We won't do business with you because I have a lot of artists who can do business with you. Even if you guys cheat us, we'll sign 3 years, 2 years. By the time we sign out of your deal, we've learned 1 or 2 things and we'll go up.
Okay, then I would.
Yeah, please. So who's taking that? Did you? It was more or less a submission. Okay.
So I'll probably say no. Go ahead.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have to wrap it up. Can't we just take one?
Can you
because
please
he's been waiting.
Can you please give us your social media handle so anybody who wants to do business with you
Okay.
somehow?
So social media, Instagram, I am Michael Owusu. That is the Instagram handle. Same on I think Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. And then you can log on to my website, www.mulaway.com. Yeah, that is the
How do you
website.
spell that website?
Mulaway. Yeah, Mula.
MULLAR.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay.
Mulaway. So and then we get things started. Yeah.
I know Michelle is big on Facebook, so you have to catch her on Facebook.
Yeah, I would really like people to engage with us. As I said, name of a company is Urban Inclusion Community. We have a website, which is www.urbaninclusioncommunity.com, Urban Inclusion, one word, and also Facebook. You look for Urban Inclusion Community. Join us on Facebook and start engaging, because we're always posting things around issues, reports, etc. We're using it as a tool where we can share information, because we advocate sharing information. So yeah, and you can also, if you forget, just holler at 7 or Trigmatic and they'll tell you.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's at Sheila Gashumba, Sheila with an H, and Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and they're all verified. So
Okay.
easy to get me there.
Idahosa.pm. It's actually the only Idahosa on what is it? Let me spell it actually. So it's IDAHOSSABM, basically.
That's it. Okay. Thank you. Please follow all of them and let's continue with the conversation offline.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. And also, please, thank you for all the women who were able to make it here. Christina Kamel, thank you very much. Ajah Painter, Ty, Michelle McKenzie, Sheila, thank you very much for showing up.
Niggas in a trap and drop plenty talking, I swear to God. Transaction in the job, I straight time, my dear block, no so dear, bully up on the park. Then I kill a boys back to up. The friend is there, our front, if you don't need one, I see what I found. Auntie Marie, if said this to the life I they live for here. Things I see with my eyes, I make catch my brain one night, she go stress, so I keep it down to myself. Go be around so my gangster, yeah, me, I'm a choice, I am fair. See me, I'm aware. Silence for a minute, rest in peace to Sister Maria. Now me my alternate, you best see I was through one day, then I will tell you my story. So which I want to know, me stand by that crime and trap. I'm doing so many bad things, but you can't see me in my shit. Me need find what happened, see I can't be mommy up, cause I really lose my way. Just say now you tell you, so my no stop. Maybe I not some mappa, maybe I not some mappa. See more from the town, now for good people, they are sending a boat. Ila madi asemebo, koku fi body asemebo, kila black body asemebo, koku fi body asemebo, kila madi asemebo, koku fi body asemebo, kila black body asemebo. Sad boys in the house, Okay, who be a bounce? Now someone crowd announce out of the blue, ya buy it loud. It's funny, I roll it tight, cause the real see the fake. I they love to think you wanna fly and see at the end of the day. Where to ride a breath, yeah, the time, marijuana, baby, baby, and quiet to be signed up. Where to ride a breath, yo, the time, now marijuana, baby, baby, and quiet to be signed up. Yeah, I wanna say, yeah, I wanna say, yeah, wanna say, yeah, wanna say. Now go to everybody, I stand up, everybody, I stand up, everybody, I stand up.
When I come with the sauce, with Jenna, my soul, the swag, that shit. I be looking from my chest, I see it. We just wanna get it, we don't want no trouble. Kaya dana suya tifu ya me we just wanna get it, we don't want no trouble. Kaya dana suya tifu. My brother, move to the top, we harder. We the grind out there. Yep, I say get it bigger all night long. All night long. Yeah. Yo, boys and trim, boys and tip. Pulling in the Benz on Jerry did it. Mommy from me, I don't think. Since I came, class, I'm dig it. Yeah, one thing. When they can take gang, we pulling with dig it. All and 4 and 2, 7 by my bro. Boys and trim, boys and tip. Pulling in the Benz on Jerry did it. Mommy from me, I don't think. Since I came, class, I'm dig it. Yeah, one thing. When they can take gang, we pulling with dig it. All and 4 and 2, 7 by my bro. We just wanna get it, we don't want no trouble. We just wanna get it, we don't want no trouble. It go on rough street in Achia Mageto need the beef on a filia. Says, I said, yes, I know, but whom are the coast cookers went to me and read ya. The firm is a cost who pristia, my guy from Monfana Cobanamico testia. We paid for attention, but Mujina teased me, when they bet to me and Lydia. We've been doing this best for a while. Once I come and rap a file, with man so panty, a pressure by foul. Fans are supporting me money how. So when you mean somebody up when I saw Brocha made the mensa when a time of Vienna, Meswama could be a Magosini when you feel coming in. Inside, outside, a castle. You show me Air Force, crew, muscle, my name so tassel. Still with the hustle, scanning come in my brother. My gift for Mama Jama and the camera. I would travel to my baby would have the beat. Make one of me, make one to my show, be a romantica. Yamani, we have Yamaka, Samanya, the Senica. What could trap like milk while you make one done a I was sweating on myself, oh my bread, I'm no. It's gonna be nice, so from Saturday, and no very good bread, so we not no.
Hello, everybody. We're just about to go into our very last session, so just in case you would want to be a part of it, which I encourage you to be, we'll be talking about intellectual property, monetization, and the music business. Intellectual property, monetization, and the music business. That's our last session. I think it would be good to get settled now so we can quickly wrap this up.
Where with the star? I never thought Star could become a star. Joaquin Trainer made one pay as a waff for being in Boba Star. Time out to get in Sunko. Kobe and the Yagan Sunko. And now performs me to my one of Boko and I'm intended to the Anantio. Better the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 now. Yo, Saturday, the Anantio. Then I will travel to Sana. Yo, Saturday, the Anantio. Better the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 now. Yo, the Saturday, the Anantio. Then I will travel to
And I've been living fast life, but I see it in slow. Oh no, and you see my lifestyle, I got G's in the double. See many people there outside where they feed man's oboe. Oh no, I may stand the defender like Joseph Yobo. My girl say she want Netflix and chill. So I chatty get even warning. If you fall in love, Kelly satin. You go to breakfast, I'm not capping. Can you see dripple, I'm not catching. I'm not faking this, no fugazi. You see these feelings, I'm not catching. I'm a quest and feet, I just want it. Happiness. If I broke, now my business. I'ma show you, you go right. All I care for the night. Happiness. If I broke, now my business. I'ma show you, you go right. All I care for the night.
FNESS, if you be the reason why your papa want to jealous me. If you want to take I'm serious, I do top speed. No fit to resonate, I'm on a different frequency. I don't think it's necessary. I'll be done with just somebody that could do like me. When I be like Musala coming off the right wing, I got to your defender, you no need to tell me. I'm a horse, finesse. You know, say me, I must not. I go carry go. If me, I got money past you. If you're not careful, finesse. You know, say me, I must not. I go carry go. If me, I got money past you. If you're not careful.
Hello, people. Thank you so much. Can we take our seats? We have our last session to go. Can we just wrap it up quickly? There's a beautiful Friday night ahead. Please, can we take our seats? Our resource persons are here.
Like a transformer, or the one sending I'm like an informer. That's what here.
Hello, please, can we take our seats and finish the first in the last interview series, please? Our last session. Resource persons are here. Mr. Kofi Boachiansa, are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
There is Ajua Painter. Lady Ajua Painter. I don't know whether it's Mrs. or Miss, but Ajua Painter is here. And there is Christina Kamel. Are you here, Christina? Christina Kamel, Ajua Painter, and Kofi Boachiansa. Charlie, what do you think? We should start the conversation while everybody is standing.
I think we should settle because we need a little more.
A bit more cow.
Ajua, what do you want to say? Hello, Christina. We need
Miss
you here.
Christina Kamel, please, your seat is ready.
It ain't nothing to cut them off from there. Heard about how to tweet the control.
Okay, please don't bring the music down a bit. Our session begins in exactly 2 minutes, 30 seconds. 4:45, 4:47. Next session starts.
No, I'm joking.
It's set. 3, 2, 1. Sound check.
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody wants to take a deep breath. Let's go. Breathe in. Please, you can join us. Deep breath. Let's go. Breathe in.
We can start with a word of prayer. I was joking. I was joking.
And then we breathe out. And so we have prayed in the name of all of them who are present to guide us. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Philip Kwame Boachibia Oyinka. For the purposes of this conversation, I would like to be called Nana Asase. I'm a poet, literary coach, musician, different other things, but for the purposes of this conversation, I'm just a moderator.
Yeah.
These are the experts who are going to be talking to us about intellectual property, monetization, and the music business. I have Lady Christina Carmel. Are you here? Please let's put our hands together for Christina.
Hi.
For Christina Carmel. There is Ajua E. Painter. What's the E for?
Enyimnyam, but it's a mouthful, and I'm tired of
It's-
people
oh, yeah.
mispronouncing
Ajua
it.
Enyimnyam
Adwo
Painter.
Enyimnyam.
Ajua Enyimnyam Painter.
Yes,
But
please.
one month se man on so elo enyi. Ion chimanso.
Oh,
Oche nyimze.
no.
Che dem not.
Not at all.
Patromatas. We appreciate you for that. Mr. Kofi Boachi Ansah.
Yes. Are
He
they here?
is a record producer. We call him Beat Menace. Charlie, you know Beat Menace? Let's clap for Beat Menace, guys.
Thanks for having me again.
A child is nothing. It's only the glory of his forebears the world sees and tolerates in him. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to put your hands together for a special man in this place. Mr. Phil Phillips, all the way from Barbados. That's my uncle. That's him. When you see him any day, please show him a lot of respect. That's a powerful ancestor who is still alive. We'd like to kick off this conversation, but let me issue a disclaimer. Beautiful conversations we've been having all afternoon, but I'm sad to say that all of the conversations make me sad because I see how we are not able to enjoy our music for the purity of the art anymore. People. Sorry, a lot of the commercialization is beautiful and all of it, but please let's preserve some purity for the art. What our African image truly is. Otherwise, all of this won't fly. To him, it may concern. I will start this conversation off with a simple question on sustainable image and reputation management for emerging celebrities. We'll have a quick word from Christina Carmel.
Okay, so just as I think a lot of people have touched on like a lot of things that artists need to be doing, what we should be doing, and what we're kind of not doing. But I feel as though yes, to say that there is beauty in our music, absolutely. And I feel as though, you know, it's just all about learning. As you go through your journey, you're learning, you're growing. And I think that's one of the things that we kind of need to almost understand, that we are going to make mistakes, but we just need to grow and learn. And everybody comes from, I think, different walks of the pond. So it's like when people bring new ideas in, it's not criticism. It is more just seeing ways that we can kind of adapt our culture and our music. And I feel as though representation and your reputation and who represents you as well is very, very important. Your team is absolutely like fundamental, making sure that, you know, everybody has the same mindset, everybody's on the same page, and everybody has the same essential knowledge of what you kind of want to do and what you kind of want to, what type of artist you want to be. So having the right manager is very, very, very important. Do I think that a lot of people have the right management? Not necessarily. I think education, like people have touched on before, is paramount, is absolutely paramount. Your manager has to have the right knowledge of what to do with you as an artist, because that's the only way you're going to be able to then flourish, and then you then contribute your idea, because it's a partnership. So your manager needs to be able to know what he's doing along with the team. I think a lot of people have touched on the kind of stuff that I would have touched on already, but I just think the right team, the right management, the right making sure that you represent yourself well as well in the industry is absolutely just, especially if you want to go into the international market, which a lot of these artists seem to want to do. I mean, I have a show, it's called VIP Unlocked, and we've just finished filming. So I did the season 1 in the UK, and we just finished season 2 yesterday with Camido. And I saw a lot, I learned a lot. And I really did finally see the cracks for myself. like being here and working with them, I saw where a lot of it's not going where it's supposed to be going. The potential is there, but I think again, like Michelle said perfectly, the mindset is just it's not where it kind of needs to be. And I feel like we need to make sure that if one of the most common things I will say out of the conversation that we had in the interviews is a lot of the artists want to jump ship or everybody wants to go. Like there's not one artist I spoke to that is looking to remain in the Ghana market. All of them want to go. But my thing is, are you all ready? And that was the biggest thing. My thing was, are you guys all ready? Are you presenting yourselves well? Are you marketing yourselves well enough to go to the UK market? Because the UK market is not easy. It's not just about going there and thinking that your music is gonna hit and feel the same as it does here. Is your music compatible with the international market? Because it's a numbers game. So you need to make sure that your numbers is making sense. So there was a lot of things I kind of saw, but I think the learning is there, and like we have this kind of like panel talk, and I think everybody kind of knows what needs to be done, but things need to get done. And I think that's where, you know, things like this, we're more forward thinking. But I will say this before I wrap up, another thing that really surprised me was the lack of partnerships from private companies, like to support the industry. It's crazy how there's no collaboration between the music industry and corporate companies. It's so scary. I look at, you know, when I do my research for my interviews and stuff, a lot of the smallest shows in Nigeria were sponsored by banks. I couldn't believe that. I could not actually believe that. And I think we have such an open market here. I can't believe the lack of collaboration between corporations. And it just makes me wonder, like, how are we able to flourish and move if the partnerships and the collaborations between corporations, banks, you know, and even like government is not, we all need to kind of be aligned as one. But I think most of the things have been touched on. I would just say, please, like, management is so important, team is so important, and, you know, making sure you're branding yourself well if it is the international market you want to go to, because it's a very different, like, it's very different waters to the Ghana market here. So you just have to be ready. That's what I would say.
Thank you. I think Kofi wants to add on, and then I'll raise two points.
It's amazing finally meeting Miss Carmel. We connected a while back, and in the UK, she was one of a few people that I was, you know, I connected with, who was very intentional about pushing a lot of Ghanaian talent. And I remember when she was trying to make the big decision to come back home to do season 2, congratulations, by the way. She and I were actually chopping it up. And it's crazy that this is the first time we are meeting in person, but she's actually walking the talk. And she did mention the lack of collaboration. I'm sure right now, a lot of the things we used to discuss back in the day is being contextualized right now to be that, you know, in Ghana. And in the previous panel, Michelle mentioned a number of things, and there's collaboration between government and artists, but usually during election season, unfortunately.
Oh dear.
There's a huge gap that needs to be closed. It's a mindset we need to move past. You know what I mean? With regards to the corporate world bridging the gap between the creative sector, we also need to understand that at the end of the day, they have to meet KPIs. Okay, so it's also a numbers game. And right now, I mean, we can have a conversation about artistry. I mean, you know where I stand when it comes to that. But really and truly, when you're talking about the business, it's a numbers game. And social capital is very important when it comes to marketing. If I render a product or service, I will like to align with an artist whose products, whose music, whose image I can leverage. In business, I give some, I take some. Yes, I know we have a huge gap. We need to evolve past our current mindset, but, you know, we still need to discuss very important things. And a couple of days ago, I was on Twitter, and there was a Twitter space with about 4,000 active listeners, and people were feuding. They were feuding with one of the most celebrated local collectives, the Asaka Boys. And they had an issue with another rapper, a Ghanaian rapper who's based in the States. And it was 5 hours non-stop of things I cannot pronounce here, back and forth. Exactly 3 days later, a rep from the collective reaches out to a mutual friend, and they want some form of corporate partnership. It's idiocy. We need to get serious about what we do. This is not a game. You need to be intentional to make it nearly impossible for people to try and overlook you. Mr. Captain made mention of, an artist. The truth is, our industry is also dominated by a lot of people who have a lot of money, the source of which we won't want to go into. And they need a system or a system without a structure to hide that. It's an open secret. Because why would somebody who's a serial entrepreneur, who has made lots of money over and over again, best believe if I'm a serial entrepreneur and I'm worth millions or hundreds of millions, or I'm a billionaire, I know where to put 5 CDs and guaranteed to make 10 or 15 back. But why will I refuse to do my due diligence or do it, but still decide to pump obscene amounts of it into a system where I am guaranteed not to make things back in return? It doesn't make any sense. It's the same way as trying to fetch water from a stream with a basket. So we need to start asking the right questions. We need to be very intentional about what Manifest did something with UMB, Absa Bank, that's Barclays. King Promise Sarkodie did stuff with Stanchart and some other bank. It's possible. You need to be intentional. If you want something, you need to map out the trajectory of what it takes to build yourself to a point where you make it nearly impossible for somebody to say no. Thank you.
Wow. So on the issue of reputation, I was going to ask something from a business end and something from an artistic end. I'm very much particular about the artistry. Let the managers do their business. That's okay. Let us talk about the business and then the art. Are you trying to manage somebody's reputation just off stage? I know most of the action takes place off stage. A musician is rated most of the time by things he does, says off stage. But we actually manage a musician's reputation for the purity of their art or for their skill they sell on stage. Can I give you a classic example? Now, we know Kwame Yeboah, don't we? It's one of our own. Kwame is one of the finest musical things on the planet at the moment. I don't say in the world, on the planet at the moment. We know that. Now, if we're supposed to handle such a person's image and all of it, Kwame will not wear all the bling bling. Kwame might not give you the most sophisticated things. Worst he will wear is a t-shirt, his jeans and all of it. But the kind of magic that will be coming if you, even if you were not seeing it, is phenomenal. You cannot overlook that. Half the time, don't we place too much emphasis on the glitz, the things off stage, than his reputation on the stage or what his art really is? What really made Usibiza was not everything off stage. It was really what they did on stage. What made Uncle Hugh Masekela was what he did on stage.
No, but he was a fashionista, man. Listen, in the
Okay.
70s, he had some deep, hey.
Okay. But I think sometimes don't we place too much emphasis on that?
I think sometimes, it's show business. So sometimes, the main kind of like blueprint for like artistry is, okay, image. That's normally one of the, before we look at the music and everything else, we look at, okay, how can we place you? What are you wearing? What are you doing? Because all of these things are trendy. And then, now we live in a viral world. So it's all about viral moments. So it's like, what are you wearing? Who's the designer? But I think we can also appreciate artists who are very simple and who don't want to necessarily wear the most and do the most, because that doesn't take away from your value and it doesn't take away from your artistry. But I think it's a different time, it's a different generation. And I think, they say the young ones are coming in now, they're taking over. And it's very show business before talent even. Because again, we're living in a viral moment. Everybody wants to trend. It's about who's like Sheila said, it's all TikTok and all the rest of it. So there is a massive emphasis on image more than talent. And people forget that you have to be of value. So I think the times are definitely changing, but I think you can still be simple, and you can still kind of not want to be like showy and still feel like, okay, if I don't wear this and I don't do this, nobody's going to listen to my music, nobody's going to appreciate me, because it's about who you are. Who you are is what sells firstly, and then your talent, and then it comes into the business. So it's not, for me personally, I don't feel like it's by force, because we've seen other people do it who are so simple, trainers, t-shirt, and it's all about the music, it's all about the artistry. But I think it's a different time, man. It's an absolute different time. We're seeing things that, you know, we might not necessarily like agree with, especially like if you're an old school head and you used to listen to like old school music where it was just about the music, it was just about the artistry. Oh, we live in a different time, and it's fast. It's changing so fast. It's crazy.
I just want to put in something.
And I just want to add, she mentioned something about knowing your artist. This is where I think it's important to know who you're dealing with. Take somebody like Ed Sheeran. He appeals to the normal person. And so his management, knowing who he is and what his appeal is, dresses him up at that. I would say, go far back and say Destiny's Child. We had sexy Beyonce. Sexy / innocent Beyonce. We had very, very sexy Kelly, and we had church girl Michelle. And at every point in time, their actual personalities are reflected in their outfits. So you see Beyonce and Kelly in the most very interesting outfits, and then you see Michelle in something a little bit more conservative, and they made it work, because eventually Michelle went on to do gospel. Technically she was in gospel before she joined the group. And so it's important for management to know who your artist is at the core, or at least try to know. Take Louis Capaldi. He's a very funny, down-to-earth person. You wouldn't even see him and think that he actually sings, but he makes amazing music. And very sad though, but still amazing. But because he appeals to a certain group and they know him and they know his appeal doesn't lie in him being fancy. His appeal lies in him being a person everybody can relate to. They are able to make that work for him. And it's an important aspect of managing an artist, because out of your stage, like out of your artistry, there's still a person beneath you. And sometimes if that person is not allowed to be expressive, or that person is not allowed to shine because, oh, well, we have to keep up a certain image, then it affects your artistry, it affects your performances. And on this point, I would like to cite Whitney Houston. She has a biopic, well, when she titled, "Can I Be Myself?" It was one of her most used phrases. Can I be myself? Can I be myself? I think her second album, Just With Me, had a few soul albums. So I'll Always Love You, Saving All My Love for You. All those soul albums came out of her wanting to be herself, because she was being heralded as the princess of pop at the time. And she didn't exactly align to pop. She was actually booed off stages at the time, because pop was supposed to be something for men or white people, not for white females. Black females. And so it's important for management to also know who their artist is and know what their appeal is to people. That's all I would like to say.
Thank you very much. Ajo, I wouldn't like you to leave. So on the back of knowing who your artist is, knowing how to pitch them, how to present them to their various publics. Now we're talking about intellectual property. Before we get to the case of monetization, all in the space of the music business, IP. What are the borders? I just want to take your first words before we really get down into.
There's a lot, but for the purposes of our discussion, you have there's copyrights. Mainly, there's a lot of IP, there's trademarks, there's patents, but for the purpose, it's copyrights, the things that are created through your authorship. So books, songs, movies, recordings, all that come under copyright. And for Ghana, and at least for most of the world, you have two main regimes. You have moral rights, that's your right to be acknowledged as the author. And then you have the economic, which is what we are heading towards today. where it's the right to exploit your work, is sometimes they may overlap because say somebody is exploiting your work and subjecting it to ridicule. It's both moral and economic. Sometimes they also don't overlap. So I'll take the case of Taylor Swift. Up until 2 years ago, when she didn't own her masters, she was recognized. Everybody hears Red or everybody hears any Taylor Swift. And goes like, that's Taylor Swift. But she didn't own the rights to exploit her music, properly so-called. They were divorced from each other. Contrast now, she has the rights, at least for her masters, not her catalog per se, just her master. She has the rights to own.
For her
them.
new recordings, you mean?
Yes, her new recording. So
Yeah.
she's actually re-recorded one album, I think Red.
Actually, I think it's 2 or 3.
Two. No, so she did the first one. She did 1981 on her own, Folklore on her own. She didn't re-record it. So she had broken out from 1989, no, Lava, sorry. The Lava album, Folklore and Evermore, those were on her own. Then she re-recorded Red and came with the very all too well Taylor Swift version, a 10-minute song that has gone viral in our day and age, which is impressive because nobody's trying to listen to a song for more than 5 minutes.
People,
So that's
I'm
just
going to
really
keep this
cool.
conversation quite short from here so we can have a lot more questions because I know when it gets to the issues of copyright,
People have
so many
questions.
questions, too many questions we can't even exhaust in this discussion. Christiana, your first words, copyright, musicians, especially emerging artists. What would your advice be if this room were full of people who are trying to bump onto the scene, locally, internationally, whatever it is?
I think my first words is to know the business of the music business. Like Michelle was saying before, you need to know every element of it because there's so many different bits that go into it. So I think not just leaving it towards your team to know. I always tell the artists when I speak to them to know every edge of the business. Don't leave it to other people because when things go wrong, like the copyright and all the rest of it, then they're so confused and they're like, oh, but I left it to this person, left it to that person. Know the business yourself. Know the business yourself. Don't just leave it to other people. That's what I would say.
Okay. And then I'll come to knowing the business yourself. As a
Sorry,
person.
what was the question again?
So on the first thing on copyright, what
Right.
would your first words be to young artists who want to bump onto the scene?
Well, they have, sorry, a lot has been said, to that, but I will say it's very expensive to be ignorant about the music business in this day and age because, I said that in, on the first panel because I was a panelist, and the avenues to monetize your art have exponentially increased, even during COVID. Between the year 2000 and 2002, we've had a surge in additional avenues to monetize your intellectual property or to leverage your copyright using a concept known as licensing. I'm sure she will touch on it later. And this is something we need to start normalizing in our space because a lot of people say a lot of things don't work in Ghana. Yes and no. We have a lot of legal mechanisms in place, but we do not put the system to the test because there's this general notion that, legal expertise is expensive. The lawyer will chop some of my money and that sort of thing. Yes, we do know that the judicial system in Ghana is a bit slow, but like any other thing, if you do not force it to work and do so often, it will die a slow death. Okay, there's also, as far as intellectual property is concerned, I need to address this social phenomenon that we often encounter in Ghana, the culture of silence. Okay, we also have this thing where people get banned for making bad legal and business decisions and they don't speak about it. Because of what use will it be for me to make mistakes when people can't learn from my wrongdoing? Because I save you a lot of time. And if our intention is to get from point A to point B, then I make it a lot easier for you because I have made certain mistakes along my journey and it is easy for you to use me as a point of reference to realize that A, B, C, D are things I should avoid at all costs. You know what I mean? And the business, the music business is fast evolving that we are left in the dust. It is crazy because the sooner we start embracing some of these concepts, which we will get deeper into shortly, the better it will be. Because in the real world, certain frameworks exist. In the virtual world, those same frameworks are built upon the frameworks that exist in the real world, and we just take those concepts much further. Right now, we are talking about virtual reality, augmented reality. We are talking about the metaverse. We're talking about Web 3.0, and people do not even copyright their songs. People don't understand publishing. So how are you going to leverage? I mean, we're talking about NFTs right now. NFTs is actually slowly becoming a thing of the past because they're now moving to DAOs, DAOs. That's the next frontier. And we barely just scratched the surface of possibilities. So I think So I mean, the sooner we begin to understand some of these concepts, the better it will be for us to leverage that information to make money tomorrow. Hallelujah.
Amen. People, so I want to ask a very simple question for the benefit of a first timer in this room who might not be familiar with all your technical terms. What would copyright mean? What does it mean to copyright your music? Two, you were talking about knowing the art for yourself. You know Gilles Chilamanda? I love that man's music. Imagine somebody in a situation like that who might not have the advantage of knowing all the edges of your business. How does a musician then secure things of that sort when you've been put into a management system? But let's start with copyrighting your work. What does it mean?
Okay, so generally, copyright is just a protection that's afforded to creative work. Like I mentioned earlier, books, songs, recordings, videos, films, anything, as long as it's in tangible form, emphasis on tangible. So that song you have in your head, or that plot you have in your head, once it has not been reduced into writing, into composition, it is not in tangible form. It cannot be protected by copyright. And it doesn't apply to ideas, to common languages, or to names. You can't copyright the name Pink or money. That's why Pink, actually, the artist, she spells her Pink with a P and then an apostrophe and then an NK. She doesn't spell it the usual Pink because you cannot copyright that. I think one of the journalists tried to copyright her name and it failed miserably. I think it was Kylie. It really failed. So generally, one, it has to be in tangible form. And two, it has to be a creation. And three, most importantly, it has to be original. Original doesn't mean you cannot build on already existing work. It just means that the changes you make have to be substantive such that it can stand on its own. Again, it has to be original. You can build on existing work, but it has to be strong enough to stand on its own. It has to be that strong. And I think a lot of people forget about that. Now, when it comes to registering, in Ghana, I think it's less than 100 CDs to register your copyrights for a song.
I think it was 20 CDs or something a while back. Yeah, I'm sure big e-leviance is coming inside. So
right now,
maybe more than that.
And
but
it cannot be done. Can it be done for a body of work, or it must be each song? I'm asking these questions because
each song. So if you have what the process is, you fill a form at the Registrar General. Well, in your district, if you're in Accra, it means you're going all the way to Makola. But you fill a form and then you list the works that need protection. And it applies to every single work. So you just, if it's one song, you list your one song. If it's more than one song or more than one book, more than one poem, you have to list every single one of them as long as they've been published, as long as they're in tangible form. Now, it's important to register your work because one, copyrights, the protection actually is very long. In Ghana, it's for your life, and then 70 years after you die. So you have it. So if you live till 80, you have it till 80 years, and then an additional 70 years, and then you either have to renew it or it becomes public property. Everybody can use it. Like what happens with classical music, Mozart, Beethoven. Now it's basically, public property. Everybody just uses and samples it because it's been a very, very long time. So you have to register all that. However, if you do not register, and this is not to say you should not register, if you do not register, your work is automatically protected. Copyright is a common law creation. So yes, there is a form of automatic protection, but again, you have to prove that it was published. You have to prove that it was in tangible form. So there's a case where a band re-recorded somebody's song, and the person took them to court. The only reason he won that case was because he had a notebook that showed that he had written the song a couple of years back, because the book had grayed, it had, the pages had curled and become yellow. And he had a recording he did in cassette form. So, it proved that he had published it and that they knew, because, he used to hang around them on and off. And so if you're going to take that kind of risk, and I would not advise it, just make sure your work is published. Now we have SoundCloud. You do not need to do the most to get on SoundCloud. There's Spotify, there's Apple Music, there's Uptown, there's Boomplay, there's even TikTok, there's Twitter. There's so many avenues that show your work in its published form, and it's out there forever. And so you do not need to be limited.
Is this lawyer should be a music producer? I don't think so. Please, Kofi wants to add something. So then we'll come to you.
In the digital space, especially when a lot of music is recorded or created on computers or using digital devices, you'd realize that the files you create have a permanent time and date stamp on the file. For the producers or anyone who uses computers, I mean, when you create any digital file, you can right click and say maybe check properties or info, and you can tell that date created, the time is there, and so on and so forth. That's also a very important thing when it comes to copywriting and trying to assess when a work was created or expressed in a tangible form digitally. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, and I'm speaking to a lot of producers and engineers in the house, those who use a lot of pirates and cracked software where you have to manipulate your system time machine, you're doing yourself a great disservice. Hallelujah. Please carry on.
Knowing the business, I feel as though the information is always available. I mean, we have Google and we have we have the internet. It's like, people don't understand how powerful the internet is, and it's free. And in Ghana it's a little bit different because you pay for data and stuff, but it's available and it's there, and we should use it and we should take the time. I feel as though the moment, like for any up and coming artist, the moment you decide that you want to get into the music business or you want to become an artist, you need to go and study what it is you feel like you need to know to do what it is you want to do. I feel like it's not just as simple as saying, okay, I'm going to do music, so I'm just going to go to the studio. I need to find a producer. And then I want to do shows, because how do I monetize? Okay, shows. You even need to know how you're going to be able to monetize, especially in a country like Ghana where there's no systems. You need to find loopholes. You need to find other ways to kind of crack the code, essentially, because it's not like the Western world. And I feel as though like so many people on this panel have talked about the different ways that you can go around the music business. So this is like, this is knowledge, like people should be writing this down. This is how information is given and shared. And I feel as though communicate. I always say to people, and I feel like the moment I've been here, I've said this like every day, your network is your net worth. Like it is the biggest thing. You need to have the right conversations with the right people, because not everybody's gonna advise you correctly. Have the conversations with the right people and absorb the information. How I got in was through the people I knew. I knew very powerful people. I knew label owners, A&Rs, and I was like a sponge. I just absorbed. I didn't want to get into the music business. It kind of found me. I just found all the business side so fascinating. And I was like, okay, so there's more to this than just producing music, shows, clothing, red carpets, interviews. There's a whole structure around this. And so now, once you have that interest, go and learn, go and study, go and talk to people, find out who you need to know as well. It's about finding out and having those conversations, taking contacts, like utilizing conferences like this. Like the amount of people that have said that people were invited and people didn't show up. Like that to me is like, it's really, really sad, because this is how you learn the business. You need to learn the business because there's a lot that goes into it. And when you don't know is when it gets tiring. It's when it gets stressful, because then you're going to lean on other people for that information. And some people will mislead you, because at the end of the day, yes, it's music, but it's a business. And where there's business, there's money behind it. And you know, when the money is involved, things get really tricky. It gets really, so when you know for yourself, once you have that information for yourself, how powerful that is, you're like a powerhouse, because nobody can then take that information away from you. So there are so many different ways you can use the internet, I think is the main one.
Our time is limited. Unless I got to Google and Google could translate very fantastic key concepts for me. If I'm not educated, it will be difficult to do it. For instance, I finished a translation project today for guides on how to download things from the internet. You should see the kind of key I had to put in there. If you're not a very avid user of the language, that might be difficult for you to comprehend if it was just read to you in people. And so Google might be limited. This person is so uneducated, does not know his left from his right. How do you ensure that he is protected from people who want to prey on you, from music producers to record labels to whoever is out there? Look, we're in a very strong system. Everybody is scrambling for the goodies, as she said when she sat here. And Ghana's system has no structure. There's no textbook to it. There's no format. It's just people who sit up there, a lot of clout, a lot of money. And to get in there, sometimes we make you aware. You're not wanted here. You're not welcome. In quotes, you don't have a class to fit in here. To come in here, you have to do X, Y, Z things we cannot publish here. How does this person survive?
I think that's where your network becomes your network. You need to then lean on other people, because you won't be able to do it on your own. Like I said, it takes a machine, like Michelle said before, it takes a machine to be able to really build. So that's where you don't understand, you ask and you find out, and you speak to the right people. I think you don't, when you feel like where there's something you feel like you can't do, find someone who can. And I think that's where your network really comes in.
Please, let's take note of this. And so we see that the might of a king, or his elegance, is in the people around him. His palanquin is carried by people. And so please, even Google has people behind the machines who make it work. And so the people who you know, definitely everybody needs somebody to take their hand. So whichever way it is, ask. If you do not know something, I can call this one in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. Yeah, Charlie, I just came across this. What is it? Free information.
This guy, they worry about.
Me, they worry, yeah, for worry. I can't worry extra. Please, you should learn. Hello, are you here? It's something you want to do. This is what you do full time. I'm a poet. I've been at it full time officially. Otherwise, it's been 21 years full time. I'm learning constantly, sleeping at 2 a.m.
And he's a very big
learning.
man.
You put me on the same platform, you sleep at 9 p.m., you expect the same results. Please, it's so unfair. It won't happen. Learn. Put your back into your business, because if you want it to be your life, guys are quitting school because they want to do music. He has a talent, he just wants to go into the studio. I have some young guys I need to go and lash.
It's called
I know
vibes.
many-
Use it. You're getting old school. The term is vibes and inshallah.
Vibes and inshallah.
Yes.
Vibes and inshallah.
I told them, guys, I
You
know a
get
lot
me?
of disappointed rappers. Please, I want us to talk about quickly. Let's just get into the money bit. Monetizing your art or your intellectual property after you have copyrighted it. What are the means you suggest, apart from the very traditional kind of live band shows or being invited to shows and all of these things? What are the avenues underground? Let me use that word for us. Underground artists like me.
Underground.
Emerging.
I saw you in 2012.
I'm
I
still
don't-
an emerging. Emerging musicians can use. I'm not known to be a musician.
One thing she said, which is important for underground artists, or if you're trying to break in, or if you've broken in, is your network. As a lawyer, I've had to deal with situations where younger YouTube creators were doing a skits or were doing something, and instead of just using a person they already know, they went to use a bigger artist without the right permissions, and then it became a back and forth. So one way is all your YouTube friends, all your YouTube content friends, if they are making content, even if it's a 2-minute skit, it works. Onga Ghana from Macedon did one. They have this show called Spices of Love, and they did one episode and they put this artist on, Boy Jake. And I know him, so I'm like, oh, okay, yes, that's my guy. I'm coming to collect fans. But then I went to the comment section and I was amazed. There were lots of people who were just in the comment section like, I didn't know this kind of person existed in Ghana. I've known him since undergrad days. That's at least 4 years. And all it took was a 20-minute YouTube video. And the budget for the YouTube is not even that much. The budget was less than 50,000, give or take. So, okay, please, I'm sorry. Very relative. Again, you have to understand, people use huge budgets, but you're talking videography, paying your actors. It was like a 20-minute episode, and that was all. Okay. And also, it's important for you. This is where self-development comes in. If you want to make your music break out, your self-development should be important to you. You cannot keep on relying on, oh, I don't understand legalese. Oh, I'm limited in English. Me, I didn't go to school. I speak pidgin. Or let's say, be very intentional about your self-development. If you don't understand legalese, if you understand English or you are literate, start going to Google. Just Google random shit, how to make the most out of your contract, how to break out in the music industry, 5 things you should know. All these things would come in. And you also have adverts and, jingles. All these things actually come in. And if, again, this is a big if you know anybody in government actually undertakes a lot of education. DVLA did a campaign. I mean, technically, they didn't ask for permission, so it became dicey at the end. But they did a campaign and they used, I think, Ephraim Doe's song. Shell's a bad example, not a government entity. There's World Water Day. That's on 22nd March. I know that Ochame Kwame would be because he's a UN climate ambassador. All these avenues help because at the very least you get some honorarium if you go for World Water Day and go and say, oh, I have a poem on water. If they say they don't have budget for 500 Ghana M-ball, all these. Getting there. And that's why your network is important.
Building the network is important.
Oh, it's stressful. It's stressful. And it's important.
Yeah. Building the network. See,
it's important.
Please pay attention. A teacher enters a class. He's asking the students, Charlie, which school were you in? JHS is senior high school. Someone's like, oh, I'm in Oaklands. Teacher was like, oh, Charlie, we have somebody from Oklahoma, guy. So he gets to this one, it's like, Charlie, he's from Offensive Local Authority Middle School. You see, you want to see so I want to when you're born onto a mount, it doesn't take too long for you to get up. So it depends on where you're coming from. How do you get there? Look, I've met practical example. Practical example. There are places I can enter wearing chalote and shorts. Very hardcore places. Look, and they are very simple places. I get to wearing regular everyday clothes, and you meet some young woman, regular every day. Sorry, first beats every night they come there. With some painted face who gives you this off attitude. I tell my guy, I'm like, Charlie, if you wait, give me a minute. I go in, change into Nana clothes. I show up and everybody straight inside.
So
how do you getting there?
The thing about
building the network, give us very practical advice.
So I personally, I don't like to review contracts for free, but I like to encourage younger people who want to be lawyers, who are becoming lawyers. I have this younger colleague. If he comes to me and says, oh, Mama, Mama is my house name, by the way. I have this artist I'm looking at. I want to draw up something. Can you help me? I will send him a template for free because I am mentoring him. And I'm like, oh, in this profession, we all have to help each other. I have this template. I have this other template. Let me send it to you for free. You would have to tweak it, but you know your artist better. And I've done that on multiple occasions. I do not need to know the artist. And the artist probably doesn't know me or know I exist, but because he has somebody in his corner who I consider a mentee, it works. And so he's getting, for lack of a better word, free legal advice because this younger mentee or somebody else, a junior of mine will come and say, oh, you know, I'm reviewing this contract. What should I look out for? And I'll say, okay, if you want to review a music contract, look out for ABC. And these are people sometimes who are not even, who are semi-literate. They are representing people who are semi-literate. And so you have to be intentional, because you have to be intentional. You have to know your friends. And it starts right from primary. I'm sorry. I went to public school till I was about 13. Some of the things I know, some of the things I learned in music were things I learned from people at that stage. Oh, I met this person. So we went to the same church, and then I see them elsewhere. Oh, Charlie, I get this contract. So like, do you have any pointers? And they're like, okay, do XYZ, do XYZ. They won't give me a full review, but they'll give me pointers on what to look out for. Or I see this person at the mall. I'm like, I'm a fan of telling people they are pretty. If they are pretty, if I see you and I think you're beautiful, I would just tell you.
Learning from you. Okay.
I do that. And they're like, oh, yes. And then you form a friendship. You form some form of connection. And that is what is missing. A lot of people think that building network is about knowing the rich people. And it does matter. Knowing rich people matters. But knowing the everyday people also matters. That friend you have in level 100 law school, or that friend you have who has dreams of being a lawyer and has maybe some grand aunties, uncles, fathers, cousins, sister,
That
who is a,
connection.
who is a lawyer and doesn't mind mentioning. Those connections matter. I have reviewed contracts for free, not because I was rich or anything, but because the person bringing it to me is a dear friend, it's a family. My mother brings me a contract. I cannot tell my mother no. And nobody knows my mother. Or my cousin says, and my cousin is here, hi. He says, oh, mama, look at this for me. I can't say no. Not that I can't say no. I just don't see the point in saying, I'm like, you know what, we help each other, we rise. I mean, if he's successful the next time, and I come, I'm like, yeah, that's, you know, that's my family member, you know, give me VIP. And that it's about being intentional and knowing them when they are little. Emphasis, when they are little. I met Boy the musician. I don't know what name he goes by now, but we went to Boy the Genius. We've been friends since 2007. We actually started being friends in church. If now, oh, and also our parents are friends, so there's that connection. Our parents are actually very good friends. His mom was my favorite person on the earth. So if now I want a beat and I go to him, I mean, he'll charge me, but it's not the same as if a random person, if Kofi or if Christina goes to him and says, I want a beat. It will never be the same. So that's what I have to say about building.
Thank you so much.
Let me just quickly add to that as well. I think you touched on everything, but my thing is, like you said perfectly, you never know people's value. This is the thing. I think everybody wants those high lucrative connections, but you don't know who your cousin knows. You don't know who this person knows who. And a lot of the time, a lot of people know a lot of people that you don't know, but you will cut them off because they're not lucrative, or you don't know what business they're into. So you're just, oh, you're useless to me. You don't know who's useful and you don't know who has value. So when we say about networking, it's really not as difficult as you think it is. You're cutting off the people who actually have the connections because you don't know their value. And that's where the problem is.
Wow. Right.
I know people, I know people, I know people. Now, you are close to me, but you know, there's this kind of, should I say, jealousy of seeing you growing beyond me. I know people, but I'll not let you know I know them, and I'll not use them to help you. This is how it is here. You see, you know. So how to get that kind of network is not an easy task, because you know people, but because you look at it. Oh, Charlie, this guy there. If you get to know the person, you will use the person by heart. Right? I beg, I don't know anybody. Even if it's a organizer and the organizer is good, they will not introduce the organizer to you.
Go around them. That's what I would say. Go around them.
Please, I'll be here very soon.
It's not easy, but it's possible.
I'll be here very soon. When I take the comment from Kofi, I think I'll just.
I think she wanted to add something.
Make an
Please,
input.
let's take that.
Oh, sorry,
Come
just
on.
really briefly. All that you're talking about, do you remember I was saying about there's a cultural mindset?
Yeah.
And it's called scarcity mentality. It's a scarcity mentality. Ghana is ferociously competitive. And when you're not creating wealth, what's your other currency? It's information. People use information to compete. So because resources are so limited and everyone is scrabbling over the same, the information that you think you should be able to gain access to because it's your friend, your cousin, your neighbor, your mom's best friend, son, or whatever, actually then becomes the mode of currency, the form of currency. And people don't want to give it up. That's why the organizing is so important. That's why the membership organizations, whatever they are, they can be neighborhood organizations, they can be national, they can be local government, not even on the governmental level. Let's talk about actually creating things from within the neighborhoods. That's why it's so important. They then become these neutral bodies that have access to information that actually, you know, it's the business they're in. The business they're in is to train around legalese. The business they're in is to do workshops on how to protect yourself, how to find a decent manager and build up those resources. So what you're referring to is exactly what is actually making it so difficult for people. When money is absent, information then becomes currency. Information is power. And, you know, human beings are animals. Don't forget that. So we will fight over limited resources. And that's what you're referring to.
Can we please give her a round of applause? We did stress earlier about the need for us to build communities. I can't stress that enough. Now we are trading information for free here. This is why this gathering is very, very important. I was coming to some, on my way here, I'm working on a project where they had to release like a list of artists, and it's a whole bunch of stuff I can get into. But from the drive from my house here, I realized Medical's largest listenership on radio, 400 radio stations being monitored in real time for the whole of last year. 85% of it came from Takoradi. You guys found this, you find it surprising, right? The remaining 15% was spread across the entire nation. Information is valuable currency, especially in the digital age. Now, we keep saying Ghana, we don't have systems. We do have systems, but the lack of functioning systems is because practitioners in the field are ignorant. They do not have information. On the first panel, when I sat with Pangiano, he said Ghana, a bill was passed in Parliament under Kwame Nkrumah just before we attained independence in 1951 for equal work, equal pay. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are certain states in America today in 2022 that are still fighting for gender equality. How many of you knew this? Do you know the most powerful union in Ghana today? It's GPRTU, the Trotro Drivers Association. They are more powerful than the Ghana Bar Association and the Ghana Medical Association. Why? Because it's a pack mentality. Clap for him. Hallelujah. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is the grease that keeps the wheel spinning in our space is ignorance. We've had Nielsen operating in Ghana for almost 30 years. When you go online and you read Rihanna sold blah, 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 blah units in the first week, it was compiled by a company known as Nielsen using their a service called SoundScan. I discovered this in the early 2000s. And then I had to reassess my approach to music. Way back, you have to recalibrate, okay? There is an intentional reason our systems do not work because it empowers certain people. The National Communications Authority, which is the regulator or the regulatory body that issues licenses for people to broadcast or to operate, to have newspapers and so on and so forth, has it as part of a bylaw that if you operate a radio or TV station, you need to keep a library of everything that is played. You need to account for needle time. But we don't do that. We have a very arbitrary system which doesn't make sense. So I can have proof that you have the highest airtime or needle time, but it doesn't translate to what you're being paid. That's even if you're lucky enough to get paid.
Yeah.
It's a cartel.
Yeah.
But do you know why this system hasn't changed? Because people don't care. You're thinking you're more concerned about showing half boob on IG. No, it's nice. I'm not saying, hey, there's a place for that as well. I'm just saying, exactly, you can monetize that too. But the knowledge gap increasingly becomes our Achilles heel. It is expensive to be ignorant. You'll be surprised at some of the things that exist in Ghana. Some of our tax laws, for instance, if you cater for a child tax, there's a form you can fill.
Dependents and children.
Yes.
So if you have older parents, you can claim tax relief for your older parents if they are dependent on you. Or if you have people you are helping through school, it doesn't even have to be your child, as long as it's a ward and you have proof.
Take it again. Take it again. Take it again. A lot of people want to hear that, please.
For example, there's a tax relief if you have older dependents. So your parents are above 60, they don't work, they have retired, you are taking care of them. You can claim a tax relief of them. If you have wards, I think everybody is limited to 3 wards, per person. It doesn't have to be your biological child. So if I'm sitting here and I'm paying school fees for somebody in Offenso, I can claim that school fees as my tax relief.
Yes.
And people don't know that.
So there are, sorry, please lie. So there are lots of, listen, information is important. I'm going to mention the name of an artist. Many of you may have heard his name, Kwame Eugene. Please show by hand if you know who Kwame Eugene is. Do you know the number of villages that pay premium for Kwame Eugene to perform? We live in Accra. We are good. You have your iPhone, something. You get Instagram, you're cool. You need to find avenues to monetize your art. Go where the love is. I don't know if Medical has ever had a show in Takoradi, but when I saw the data today, Charlie shook me to the core.
Well, in fairness, Medical collaborates with a lot of younger artists. He doesn't care where you are from.
Right.
So as long as you're good and you're young, he will collaborate with you straight up. And it really helps his views because he releases a lot of songs, almost all as features. So that would explain even.
We need to be very intentional. We need to build a community. We need to fortify ourselves with knowledge so we can even fight against the system that is increasingly exactly. It's crazy. And we are the reason. I gave an example earlier on the panel I was on before this, that if I have a lot of valuables in my house, you guys do not have valuables in my house. I know what I have. I know the worth of what I have. And I choose not to lock the doors. And every day I keep having break-ins. Do you blame the?
No.
You don't. It's too expensive to be ignorant. I believe there are other aspects we need to tackle.
There might be, there might be a lot of that, but I think a lot of people in the audience want to make.
Right.
I feel we can have this conversation again. We need, say, like a day, let's break it into about 4 sessions and have this conversation. It's too bad. Please, any feedback from the audience? Any questions? Please. Okay. Yes, your hand has been up since. Please, can we pass this mic to him for me?
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Julian. With regards to your network being a network, it's something I've always been pushing. I mean, to the barest maximum. And you realize that there's a problem where a lot of people meet people and then they network and they don't know exactly what to do or how to approach the person with regards to what they need. They don't know how to, how to facilitate that network or how to get whatever it is that they want from them. It could be that there's lack of confidence or they're just ignorant. What would you say about such an ordeal or something? I don't know. Thank you.
Can I chime in?
What was the question again? For somebody who is not maybe used to talking, and then he has the opportunity to meet somebody. Well, then they don't know what they want, or they don't want it bad enough. It's that simple.
It's not every relationship. Look, you can know people who have high net worth and all of that kind of stuff, but it's not every relationship that should be based on what do I need, what can I get. The most productive relationships are relationships which are genuine. Engage with people in a genuine way. That doesn't mean to say you can't represent what your needs are, but when you start approaching people purely because you see them as a commodity, then you've already lost half of the battle, yeah? You need to be genuine, open, and honest, and also be a little bit humble as well. People are not just there to satisfy your needs and to help you to gain wealth. A lot of what we're talking about is about building relationships which become meaningful later on. You know, we often don't, you're quite right, we don't always know who we're talking to. It's a long game. And anyway, let me know, because me, I like to
No,
talk.
I agree with you. I think it's a long game. And you know what? That's what I noticed when I was here. It's like nobody really wanted the game long, because there's no way you're going to approach someone and ask them for something straight away. Like nobody has the balls to do that. You have to play the long game. You have to know what you want, move with intention. And like, for example, you've seen someone here that you want to get to know. You're not going to go up to them straight away and say, this is what I want. What's their name? Go on social media, follow them for a while, like pictures and stuff, and then gather what it is you think you want and play the long game. A lot of people who have had successes, it's a long game. It really is a long game. It's not a short-term game, especially building relationships.
On the time of the long game, let's take one from a long something. Yeah.
Long distance.
Please,
All right.
we're listening to you, sir.
Okay, good evening, guys. My name is Goldman. I'm a gospel artist. I'm a lawyer. Yeah.
You can just call me Mama. That's fine.
Okay, Mama. Hi, Mama. All right. In your submission, you made mention of if you want to your work, you can go to Registrar General. But I want to find out. I thought we have copyright here in Ghana. So where is the best place to register your work? Yes.
So there's a copyright office. There's
All right. The last one. Mama and Pacho, hold on. All right. So with what my brother just said in terms of your networking, this goes to the up and coming. I don't call them up and coming. I call them you see, when you're going for a function or a program like this, prepare yourself. You know to have a card. Make sure you look for a pen and paper, write your number, your email address, all the information that you need, put it on writing. So let's say the panelists say you want to approach them and say, have your number. You first have to give your number or your card to them, and your number. Seriously, if it's me, I will not give it out. Thank you.
Hey, this
There's
can
a
I go ahead and
copyright
ask a
office,
question
and
too?
they have black better word. I keep saying location because anytime I'm drafting, I say location, but they have an office. And then they also have a place within the RGD. I mentioned Registrar General or RGD because it's actually the most accessible of all the places. You can go to the copyright office, but it's not as accessible. And at the Registrar General, to explain certain concepts to you, especially in your local parlance. You have people who are more willing to say, oh, okay, you have to fill this form. So do it this way. They would speak to you in Tree, they would speak to you in Ga. It's not as restrictive. But that's all. So you can go to both ends. It's just about a matter of accessibility.
Yeah, I just recognize something that most of the day we have done the patient analysis. We have done also the diagnosis. We have not necessarily looked at whether or not there is a need for a prescription and what would be that prescription, or does the patient go to surgery? What is the aftercare process? And therefore, maybe this is something that was within the agenda of today, maybe it wasn't, but I think you may have, if it isn't, that it could be a disservice to diagnose without also looking at what solutions and the next steps. And if we do that, then all that we have said today, we have really been complicit. So I'm just a little concerned that I have not been hearing very much as to how this forum will address not necessarily all of the challenges that were identified, but some of them.
Can I just quickly say that one of the things in terms of being solution-based, I saw a concern with the media outlets here in Ghana as to the way they promote artist music. It was very much Kokonsa based, very controversial, focuses very much on the negative, drama, who you're sleeping with, and how many numbers you did or your numbers didn't do well. I saw a gap for that, and I wanted to change that, which is why I created my show. And my show is like 3 years in. I've done season 1 and season 2 just because I wanted to focus solely on the music, to promote the music. And because I'm Ghanaian, but I was born and raised in London, I saw the needs. Well, I can cross the bridges. I have access to both worlds. So for me, it was about making sure that we promote Ghanaian music internationally so that they could be able to tap into all waters and get the new listeners in and make it be solely about the music and the artist. I'm not really interested in the drama because I see a lot of that with the media outlets, and I wanted to change that. So that was my solution.
I guess, Okay. So there are a number of solutions I can speak on, but most are just short term and won't have any lasting impressions. But I keep coming back to community. So in answering the question, I guess you'll get a hint of some of the underlying problems. First and foremost, we need to be intentional as an industry and as a sector. And the first and the most important thing is having a unified front. I can't stress anymore on this very point. I feel the first thing, right? Okay, so one of the greatest things about the Ghanaian constitution is we have the right of association. Okay. The Ghana Music Alliance, which is a co-organizer of this event, started because we saw the need for us to have a unified front to organize. We hold periodic workshops during COVID, it's virtual via Zoom, to try and close that knowledge gap. Please Google Ghana Music Alliance and sign up, because we will be offering a lot of stuff for free until we need to actually charge for membership, because we need to find a way of making it sustainable. That's the first thing. Now, this is important because for you to change a system, you need to come as a unified front. I'll give you a key example. If a lot of creative persons, just because of the sheer nature of most creative practices and disciplines in our part of the world, you'd realize that cash flow isn't as continuous as regular 9-to-5 occupations. So it's much difficult for you to have things like health insurance, for instance, which is why in Ghana, usually when somebody is sick, they have to do a GoFundMe, if not that person dies. One of the key ways, even, we can leverage certain partnerships with insurance companies is if we go as a unit, as a body. This is one of like 100 examples I can cite right now. Secondly, she made mention about the media. You see, media is a very powerful tool. The media has the power to reorient your way of thinking without your permission. You would hear some music, nah, this is absolute garbage. You keep listening to it over and over. Next thing you do this. You don't even realize. That's godlike power. In the last couple of months, we had lots of conversations about, yeah, you know, we are not paying Ghana music. Why? Because we do not understand culture capital. There's a reason why you be in a room, a Jamaican walks in, he speaks his part, why you feel the need to want to be Jamaican. Can I hear an amen?
Yeah, man.
No, I'll come there. It's very, very important. Why? Because in Ghana, we have a cultural policy on paper, but not in practice. Because if we had a cultural policy in practice, we will play more Ghanaian content. We will understand the need or the importance behind an Eddie Kra symbol or a Henema, and not wait for Very Valentino to clone it and sell it for 1,500 euros before it starts trending on social media. We won't sit down and wait for the motif of the Kente pattern to be patented by a Chinese company. And right now we are crying foul. It doesn't make any sense. We need to organize and reorient our way of thinking. I hope I answered your question to a large degree, because I can break it down into like 100, you know, I think other people will need to talk. So I guess maybe as we go on, yes.
How you doing? My name is Kwaku T, Afrobeats originator.
Listen. Listen, Kwaku T is one of the pantheons.
Damn,
okay.
dude.
No,
Powerful,
it be true.
powerful.
No. He's one of the most important figures of that synergy of hip hop and what we know today as hip life. He's one of the architects. Yes. And because we do not tell our stories, many people don't know how important this man sitting here is. Charlie, thanks for showing up, bro. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate y'all, and I think this is it's really a step in the right direction. I think you said something about unity, and I'm gonna add accountability to that. About 2011, 10 years ago or so, everything that he said about me, I was in court with a conglomerate giant in the telecom industry. And people heard about it. I had one journalist that was ready to stick his neck out on the line and report on it. I was in court for 2 years. This was intellectual property infringement. This was 2010. So they were using my music for the African Cup and then the World Cup. So I'm talking about, I got global, I got, well, terrestrial, and then continental, then global. That's the extent to which they use my music. And my partner that was with me jumped ship because the conglomerate was too big. And everybody was saying, these people, they can pay off the judges for accountability. They can pay off the judges. And towards the end of those 2 years, my parents who were riding for me, they were ride or die, were like, yo, I think you might think about settling. Eventually, I settled for peanuts. I ended up paying my debts because every day I was going to court and they were postponing and postponing because they knew my money wasn't long. But nobody, the Ghanaian populace, even my main people, were dissing me for going to war with them, whereas what I was doing was, it was precedent. So even if I don't get the money I deserve, my children will not sit down or my children won't grow up in an environment where colonialists can come into the country and make all the money they want to make, or neo-colonialists make all the money they want to make and then fly it out off our blood, sweat, and tears. So accountability is necessary and it's real, but we're talking about copyright, but it doesn't work in this country. It doesn't work. That's why everybody chooses to copyright their stuff outside, ASCAP or whoever. It's about time, unity as a people. We demand accountability for these people at the top who claim their Ghana music. What the?
But
I'm not talking about the Ghana Music Association. I'm talking about Gamro and those
Musica.
guys. Musica.
They are
That's their name.
you see, that's the here's the thing. That's why I keep talking about the knowledge gap and the need to organize. Why? Because those people emerged from amongst us.
Yes.
And the other, let me tell you something. Gamro, for instance, at some points, they even had lawyers working for them that they educated using money from rights owners. And when people started pushing against them to do the right thing, they were using those lawyers who were trained with your money to fight you because they know you are ignorant.
Okay, so real quick, unity. Right now, the likelihood that could happen might be slim because we have social media. Back then, there was really no social media. So, and even if there was, maybe people wouldn't have jumped behind it, just like everybody else that heard and felt like it was my problem. Some of your legends that you claim are legends were telling me to shut up. They called me a monkey, told me to shut up and sit back and just take whatever scraps they're willing to give me for legendary stuff,
It's
legendary music that's made.
It's a defeatist mindset. Remember, I did say that we need to reorient our way of thinking. Okay, it's a new dawn. People are making it work elsewhere around the world. I have a friend in Ghana who receives regular royalty checks from neighboring Togo because he worked with a Togolese artist. The artist, and this was like music that was made about 20 plus years ago. And every once in a while, I mean, when he least expects it, you know, he goes to his mill, he gets a check, he cashes it for like $2,000. It's nice. I mean, listen, and this is not for an artist who is like really buzzing. You understand? We need to demand accountability, and it begins from us. Okay, who will sanitize the hand sanitizer?
Briefly about the solutions, be intentional about investing in people, and investments doesn't have to be money. Again, a lot of people think that everything has to have monetary value. It doesn't. Personally, when I see, if I'm scrolling on Twitter and I see somebody do a cover and they go off pitch, I would send it. If they are my good friend, or depending on my relationship, either I will tell a good friend of theirs that I follow, or tell them that, okay, at this particular second, this person went off key, and then this can help, or this technique can help. And all those little pieces of advice are investments you make towards making the system better. If I see somebody doing a performance and it doesn't go well, if I know somebody in their camp, I would reach out to the person and say, this performance did not go well. You should have put these things in check, or these things in place. It's investment. It's not monetary. It takes 5 minutes of my time to type out that message and send on Twitter, send on WhatsApp, send on iMessage. But these are all steps you can do to better us. And also, please, criticism is not negative. It's not about, they are hating. No, it's genuine criticism. If I'm criticizing your art, it actually should be a form of flattery, because it means I think highly of your art to the point that if it falls below a certain standard, I am disappointed. That means I actually think really highly, because it's only things you have value for that you expect a certain level of excellence. If I have no value for this carpet, I don't care if it gets cleaned. But if I value it and I see it's dirty, I'm going to come and say, this carpet is dirty, we should clean it because I have put a value on the carpet.
Hi, my name is Claudia Keys. Hi, cousin.
Hi.
So what our brother Kwekuchi said ties into my question. So I've been in the brand advertising agency space for about 4 years now. Next month will be 4 years. And I realized that what a lot of the brands do, from what I'm seeing, and I've been fighting for this since I got into the agency, fighting that brands contract people well and get them paid properly. So I was asking if you copyright your music, right? And the brand pays you, because what I realized that most of the agencies don't want to sign contracts. They'll rather, just tell the guy, do this music for us. We'll pay you A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that's done. That's the whole thing that's done. Then we are done with it. So can I, as an artist, after making the music for the brand, can I copyright it to myself and use my money collection, whatever, people give me royalties from it? That performance rights organization. So it's possible to copyright my music for myself, even though the brand has paid me to make the music for them for a particular purpose, but they didn't contract it, or they didn't put it into writing that, okay, we own the music now, but they've given us money to say, okay, we paid you for it. Is it possible without a written contract?
It is, but very risky. And this is why I always advise people have a written record. Email, WhatsApp, anything that shows that it's written. Do not leave it to chance. Even if you have to do speech, send a follow-up text. Oh, this is what we talked about, just so that everybody's on the same page. Because when it becomes just oral, it becomes a he said, she said situation. And like Kwekuti rightly pointed out, if you do not have a certain capital, you will not win that situation. Because people are predisposed to believe people of a certain stature. If they see a Jay-Z and let's say me, and we are both telling lies, the human mind is just conditioned that, okay, Jay-Z is successful, he's rich, he's the epitome of excellence. Yeah, but you'd have, I would be in the minority. Oh, I'm touched. And so have it in written form. Written form doesn't mean a contract necessarily signed, but something that shows proof. And this ties in with licensing. Your question has primarily to do with licensing people to use your works. If I wouldn't advise anybody to grant an exclusive license to any other party or body to use their works. An exclusive license is nobody gets to use the works apart from them. I would always be against it. You cannot be the only person using my works. I'm hot commodity, please. Let's share the love. But that is licensing. So whatever your terms are, whether it's written or not, let it be out there that it is not an exclusive license. Let it be out that it's days or after this, I have the right to do as I please with whatever work I have created for you. However you that you use with them. That would be all.
Can I say something real quick to just what you said? There's also the issue or the concern of duration. Okay, many people assume the moment they have an agreement of sorts, especially written or unwritten with someone, they are liable to use the work in perpetuity, means forever. That's nonsense. You need to ensure that there's a stipulated time period within which they have no right to keep using the work unless they come back and you renegotiate for, reuse. Okay, so keep that in mind when going through contracts. Thank you.
Okay, people. So in the spirit of sharing love, I think the conversation is closed here. To a point,
I have a quick question.
Just to say that, let's have this session.
Can I ask my question? I'm not sure. Can you hear me? Hold up. Can you hear me when I ask my question?
For ourselves. It's been beautiful. I was just telling my uncle, I hope a lot more people leave. If you are the merrier. Such that you see such sessions where rich information is being shared.
Or Speaker Ghana, can you hear me when I ask my question?
To make anything meaningful out of their craft, out of what they hope to do in the music industry.
Hello, can you hear,
Thank
can
you
you
so
hear me
much
when
for
I ask
staying.
my question?
Before
I
we
have a question for the
get to the
panel.
point where we think of trying to figure out how to leave, we want to take a quick word from Ghana Tourism Authority. Please, Mr. Alfred, I don't know his surname is here. He'd like
don't
to share a
think they
few
can hear
words
me.
with us. So from GTA. Hello,
Yes.
sir.
Can you guys hear me?
I hope when I call you Alfred, I've not heard. Okay, so
Thank you very much. My name is Alfred Asumedi, Deputy
How do I
Director,
ask it?
Domestic
Do I,
Marketing, Ghana Tourism
do I
Authority.
just ask the question, or how does this work?
Thank you for having me. My boss would have wanted to be here. Today is
Okay,
been from one
I was
meeting
wondering
to
they
the other.
because they said
And so
just
that's why I even
unmute
managed to
and
get
speak
here
up. So
late.
I'm not sure.
So just to come and say hello to the organizers of the event. And I'm very glad it happened. And for the little that I've heard, I realized that it's not just the music alone. There's a lot of things behind the music. During the Independence Day celebration in Cape Coast, we organized a football match between the Busuan Dubs and Vipers. And that was my first time. And I realized that we just sit and enjoy the football. The number of things that went on before that match started, I had no idea. And it's the same feeling I'm having here. It's not just the music, but there are a whole lot of things behind the music. And I believe we have all taken the knowledge that have been shared here seriously, and it's going to help our work. I pray that, as our brother said, these things happen again and more knowledge is shared so that at least the fighting and these things will go down and the musicians will really benefit from what they are made to have. And on this note, I want to say thank you to the organizers.
Can you guys hear me?
on this note, I would like to encourage GTA to broaden their network
Okay.
so that more musicians, more artists can benefit from the platforms
guess
that are
not.
created both at home and beyond. Please educate us on the platforms you have beyond Ghana. I'm not looking
Are
there,
you
I'm
guys
seeing
paying attention to the Zoom
anybody
by
from
any
the Accra Mall?
chance? Yes.
Please, who is from the Accra Mall? We need to receive a word from
Oh.
them. They hosted us.
I have a quick question, guys.
Daniel is here.
Can I ask
Oh,
can I
please
ask a
put your hands
question?
together for another musician. He's also a musician. This man is a fantastic pianist. Like, yeah.
May I ask
He
a
was my music
question
teacher
to
when I was in
panel?
JHS.
Hello, may I
Oh, yeah,
ask a
Nanaya
question to
teach me
panel,
music for
please?
some. Please let's put our hands together for him. He's also marketing manager for Silverbird.
I'm the business manager, Silverbird Cinema.
I guess not.
All right, it's good to have all of you here. On behalf of Silverbird, we are happy to host you for the maiden edition of this event. Hopefully, we'll have a lot more of these. And I realize that talent is not enough. Let's make money out of this talent. God bless us all.
People, in the spirit of making money, I'd like to call the man who called all of us here, the man who triggered these conversations. By some rhythmic coincidence, he's called Trigmatic. Trigmatic or make us stop. Okay, so these are the only designers we like to wear. We like wearing Ahinema, and he's also a member of the governing board of the National Folklore Board. He's not a small, easy personality. Please, he's a lead singer in church as well.
You know, sing Kola, it be velvet. It will
know,
tell you something.
Man of God,
It's the fabric of royalty. You get
know what
me?
I'm talking about.
Well, with this given opportunity, I'm just going to say a big thank you, big thank you so much to the entire music fraternity and the music business fraternity, to all the panelists that came to. Thank you so much. I know you guys have busy schedules, and I was calling Manu Lawyer, it wasn't easy. Not pressure, but then I had to try and say, oh, come through, and then sing Christina, Beat Menace, the ones who are not here, Seven, the guys who came for the first sessions, and most importantly, you guys, the ones who came from morning to now. Give yourself a round of applause. I also want to say a big thank you to everybody that made this happen, the sponsors. GTA is here. Thank you, GTA. Thank you, GIPC. Ghana Music Alliance. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Urban Inclusion, you know, Silverbird. If I don't mention any names, please forgive me. But each one of you, even individuals, like let me just say a few individuals just called and said, oh, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Yes, you know, the Nasasi called himself, you know. So this is beautiful and it's in the spirit of music. We've all said a lot. What's important is what we're going to do from here. I've been to a lot of these seminars. I've been to a lot of these talks, and it looks as if it's becoming a thing, and then after nothing happens. So please, this means a lot to me. As a matter of fact, I just got a few monies from my royalties, not in Ghana, and it was part of the monies that I, you know, put in here. It could be better. I'm just giving you a practical example so that you know that we all have a role to play. Finding funding for this was very difficult. You know, at a point, I had to buy tickets. I bought tickets that were not on it, you know, because I was trying to get a few African brothers to be here. And it's from personal funds. And so it's important that we echo our voices enough, especially when policymakers are here, for them to understand the need and the importance to invest. And because, like people were mentioning, cultural capital, you know, it's not something that you joke with. Music tourism. I mean, if you look at Ghana as a place, a lot of things have happened here, but most of it has been as a result of music tourism. And so we cannot downplay it. And I urge all of us here to walk out with our chest up high, believing in what we're doing, because trust me, no matter how top down the people make you feel, we are the ones calling the shots. We are the creatives. We are the ones empowered. And until you believe it, you can't walk it. And so believe it. And this is why I put this together. Whether it's blood or sweat, I wouldn't say even the Alliance, because we believe in you guys. And since we started the Alliance, I'm sad to say a few artists have showed interest, and it's sad. You know, I've been through all the ranks, you know, as a musician and even outside the music scope. And truly, musicians sometimes don't even care about their own selves. And so this is the time. We need to take every bit of this very serious. And so I want the conversations to continue. I'm happy the team from the Barbados High Commission came through. I'm happy I'm seeing artists, managers. I'm happy I'm seeing the media here. I'm happy there's a link on Facebook that people are watching. Big shouts to Kweku T, you know, Tizzle. Big shouts to Gazmila. Gazmila's a brother, you know, and all of you here, thank you so much. Let's keep the Ghana music running and running. All of us here in the room, we are enough power to make things happen. We can actually start something.
And you guys
we can actually
give your
decide
socials, please?
that we need to start something. And the voice is huge enough. We don't need extra people, just the people here. If we decide that we will take a step, we can make it happen. So thank you so much and enjoy every bit of it. Please let the conversations continue. Start your own Twitter spaces. Join the Alliance. Please join the Alliance. Go on the website, www.ghmusicalliance.com. There's a simple form there. The website is user-friendly. You don't need to do much. Your name, your email address, that's all. You just don't need to do much. And you get a call, you get a text message. We do some pro bono services as well for you guys. So please join, come through. Let's echo the voice. Thank you.
Hello, people. So on the back of those final words, we have so much potential. Let's put some kinetic energy into it. My name is Nana Asase. Mama Kweku Asase. Writer King who sips communion wine from the calabash. See you at the next edition.
Hello?
You know, when you bring those actions together in one household, not just beauty of music, it makes you understand the languages, make you self-adapt to different cultures.
Yus, we can't hear you properly, bro.